everyone, welcome back to Poppin' In with Alexa and Molly. I'm Alexa.
I'm Molly.
And we have
and I'm Kelly.
And this is our trick or treat episode.
Ew,
and
fool you?
you've been tricked. Because Kelly, gosh.
We just realized that my voice apparently sounds like Molly's voice when we do the podcast in Poe.
This is already off to a chaotic start, but I think we've got to just keep it going.
Yeah, my dog is losing its mind. So you've been tricked, and Kelly is Molly, and Molly is Kelly.
So if we sounded alike, Kelly and I don't have the same voice whatsoever, but we realized while we were, practice recording, just testing our volumes, that we literally have the same voice.
It was
it
actually
freaked us out.
Horrifying.
If you don't hear that now, sorry, but...
Yeah. Again, also sorry if you hear my dog barking. She's barking at nothing. She's a little psycho. So we are here today for a special horrific episode. Ooh, spooky. I hope you're getting chills already. I know I am. And we have brought our good friend, Kelly, and she is an expert in everything scary, spooky, ooky. And...
Tell us a little about yourself, Kelly.
I'm Kelly.
Not Molly. She's not Molly.
Yeah, this is Kelly. This is not Molly. Alexa and Molly and I all met at a previous place we used to work. And Redacted, yeah. The before time at the before place. I love Halloween. If you asked me if I liked Halloween, I would say yes. But if you asked me on a deeper level, I would say that it is quite literally my sole purpose on this earth. I love everything spooky. As soon as October hits, it is Halloween. The adrenaline I get from dressing up in a costume and going somewhere is unmatched.
Yeah.
So the first time I ever met Kelly, she was in a bottle of ranch. And what I mean by that is, she was dressed up as a giant ranch bottle in our, office cafeteria.
No, yeah, I was I fully wore the ranch bottle to the office. And I did proceed to play 2 seasons of kickball in my ranch costume, which I will take to my grave. I'm very proud of that.
Didn't you do spicy ranch too one time? You wore
that was my idea. I was gonna do spicy ranch as a costume and wear fishnets and
so
stripper heels.
Oh, I
That's
love
funny.
that.
I did not. I need to break that bad boy back out again.
Yes, it is your defining.
I do believe that was a defining moment in my life.
So in case any of you haven't looked at a calendar, it's currently October 2024, the year of our Lord. And we are so excited. I would say, spooky season is my favorite season. I have told people, ever since I was a little girl, I knew I wanted to be haunted. When we were buying a home, I told Chris, I want a house that's a little haunted. And he said, I don't know how to put that in Zillow. And
you probably could.
He was like, also, no.
Are you actually the child from, The Sixth Sense when it's I see dead people?
I wish. I have wanted...
literally Wednesday Addams.
I have wanted to, when I was in college, there's, this building that's, it's supposed to be, one of the most haunted places on the East Coast. You know how everyone says that? And then I literally would freshman year, I brought people down on Halloween I broke into the basement, which was very creepy, with a little Yankee Candle and my Barnes & Noble tarot cards. And I was like, we're going to...
Not the Barnes & Noble
We're going to summon some goddamn spirits.
The Barnes & Noble where you poison people?
Yeah, that's a whole thing.
If that were me, I'd been like, no, Alexa, I'm really scared. Can you please let me go?
Just imagine me at 18 years old, literally, crawling through a window of, it's not an abandoned building. It's a real, people,
You could have just used the front door.
And just, breaking into the basement. And obviously the spirits were we know that is cinnamon toast scented candle. And that's not going to bring us out.
The spirits were scared of you. They were like, oh my God.
Yeah. They were like,
They're like, we're going to actually just stay hidden.
It was a time. So I'm a big spooky girl. Also, Molly loves all things murder and spook too.
I do. So one of our things that I really want to touch on today, and everyone thinks I'm crazy when I say this, but it's a real thing. So hear me out. It's real.
Okay.
Is I have comfort horror movies.
Yeah, I put that on the list.
Yeah. And it's a thing. It's a real thing. But people think it's so wild. But I just love horror movies. But there's ones that I go back to a lot.
Yeah.
So
that's my thing, because I am also the same way. I love true crime. I love the murder documentaries and everything. And I put those on the background, or I've fallen asleep many a time to the serial killers podcast. I love all that stuff, but I also, maybe I'm just desensitized to it, but I find it very relaxing. I love it.
So I don't...
Maybe just on the ball.
I can't fall asleep. I am, scared of things easily. as you guys both know.
Yeah.
But, so I am afraid, like, I could never, like, watch a horror movie by myself, like, in a room alone. But, like, if I'm, like, with Matthew and I love horror movies. Like, we've always loved watching horror movies together, or with my friends. Like, I can watch horror movies. But, yeah, I'm not necessarily, I wouldn't say it's, like, my comfort, but I have comfort horror movies.
And so I'm curious, like, and we can get into this more, but what do you think it is you guys like about horror? Because I have loved horror, and to be clear, I'm, like, saying, like, HORROR, not horror. I love horror. But like
it's a genre.
I think about it like psychologically, and I'll go first to talk about myself. I think psychologically I love horror because it makes me feel like it's the most interesting thing that could happen, and I find general life to be boring.
Okay.
My therapist and I talk about it. I'm doing a deep dive. But I think that's why I find, and I also like I grew up in a house that loves horror. I grew up in a horror house. Pun intended. And, you know, so like I've been watching horror since I was like 5 or 6 years old, probably way earlier than I should. And so I do find it comforting, but I also, again, it's like the most interesting thing that could happen, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would rather be haunted than like burglarized.
Of course.
Interesting.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Before you answer? This is just something I think about often when I'm watching a horror movie. When somebody is like in a house alone and it's really dark and they're being clearly somebody's like broken in or they're being haunted or whatever, I'm like, turn on the TV. Just turn on the TV. You will instantly feel better. Like, you can't be scared when Parks and Rec is on TV. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just turn on the TV. But they never do. They always just walk through their house like super scared and it's dark, and like they never think to just turn on Netflix really quick. You know
yes, when I was younger and I would get really scared, I would always have to watch an episode of Friends after I would like watch something really scary.
Turn on something with like bright colors, like something that's like a comedy. But they never do that in movies.
Yeah. So I'm curious, like, psychologically, let's get into it. Why do you guys think you like horror?
So I think for me, I've always loved like mysteries, riddles, and stuff. Like, I was a Scooby-Doo kid. I loved all of that. And then as I got older, I think like my Scooby-Doo mystery thing kind of naturally progressed into like crime stuff. And I think also because like I would turn on like Law and Order SVU as like a 10-year-old. My mom was like, hey, don't watch it. So of course I was like, I need to watch it because my mom said no.
Yeah.
And then kind of going back into your therapy thing, which I'm glad you said this because now I can say mine. I think like I've talked to my therapist about it a lot. Like, if you are like depressed or anything, I think sometimes it's a little bit, it puts yourself in a better headspace when you're like, oh, I see something awful happening on TV. Like,
at least I'm not murdered.
Yeah, at least I'm not murdered.
Yeah.
And then this is gonna sound so bad. I honestly think that that was like my crime stuff, and then I think the way it transitioned into horror, because it's very ironic because I used to be a bitch kid. I hated horror movies. I hated Hollow Scream. I was scared of dogs. I was scared of everything as a kid. I honestly think it was like probably 8th grade or something was the first time like I watched like a scary movie with a boy, and like he put his arm around me or something, and I was like, oh, so I can use this as like a flirting tactic. And that's exactly what I did. That was my move in high school.
Basically, you like horror because you could pull.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally. Like, that was my game, was horror movies. And then I ended up actually liking them.
Also, I want to say, no, people don't talk about enough the Scooby-Doo to true crime junkie pipeline.
Thank you.
Okay? It is, like, I think it's a direct
It's not my
thread.
fault. It's Scooby-Doo's fault.
Yeah, if you see a kid watching Scooby-Doo, just know she will be Googling murders by age 10.
100%. Thank you.
Yeah.
I feel so validated.
Yeah, and there's
really
nothing wrong with that. Molly, let's get into your psyche.
Okay, well, hearing Kelly say that's so true to my experience as a kid. Like, I literally went to therapy because I was scared of so many things. Like, I was scared of dogs, scared of everything. But I think everybody has this experience somehow. Like, I watched it when I was 10, and I wasn't supposed to be, but, like, my mom loves horror, so, like, I would kind of also grow up, like, being around horror movies and stuff, but anyway, so, like, I feel like that, like, I just was very into it. I don't know if there was, like, one specific thing. I can't really dive that deep into my psyche, But I just have always loved horror. I think it's the same thing of, like, what you were saying of, like, watching something that's just not... Well, Alexa has this theory about me. It's very interesting.
I'm curious.
I love to psychoanalyze people without their permission.
Yes,
that
is so true. I did not consent to this. But she says that I love, like, horror or, like, dark, disturbing things because my life is so normal.
Yeah, because you have, like, a nice, like, comforting, like, family and relationships or whatever. So I think, like, people, like, sometimes will seek out, like, I love, like, rom-coms and, like, things, like, my favorite, like things where it's, like, for a long time, like, I was like, this is not what I have in my life. Mm-hmm. So I find comfort in that. Of, like, a sense of security, whereas I think you find comfort in the fact that, like, you know, your husband's probably not gonna, like, get possessed and murder you in the middle of the night.
See, I want him to. And in fact, like, wait a minute. No, because to the point where, like, we'll go to, like, a lake house, and I literally am like, Matthew, I want to get, like, terrorized at this lake house so badly. Like, I just so badly.
Why did you give me a crazy look for saying I wanted to be haunted?
Can I just say, I've been to so many haunted houses with you.
Yeah, I know, I'd freak out, but
it is completely contradictory attitude.
I know. I probably wouldn't like it in this situation, but, like, when I'm at a lake house, all I want is for somebody to, like come and terrorize us.
Let me know the next time you go to a lake house. I
got you. Kelly in a
You know I love a costume.
Kelly banging on
got
the door.
You.
Kelly dressed as the guy from Princess Bride.
Dread Pirate Robert.
Yeah. I want to get into, like, our favorite genre of horror movies, because I think that kind of fits into it. I don't know if that's necessarily my answer, but I do want to, like, get into that.
Well, as we're in our psyche right now, do y'all remember what, like, the first, like, I know you said It. Mm-hmm. Do y'all remember what the first thing you watched that, like, really scared you?
So mine was also It, but I watched it, like, age 7 or 8. Like, way too young.
I think I was 10.
And it's, like, the 1980-something
Yeah, the 80s
And
one,
I'm not kidding,
obviously.
for years after, every time I turned on a faucet, I thought blood was gonna come out.
No, right? That scene used to traumatize me No, that movie is honestly so scary. And I love the new It. Like, I love it. Matthew and I just watched the second one again. We watched the second one a lot. I love those movies, but, like, the original is just somehow so much scarier.
Also, do you know how the book actually ends? It's really fucked up.
No.
Okay, so what happens, and they don't do this in the movie, but you know how it's, like, all guys and a girl, right? Mm-hmm. In order to get rid of it, it's something where they all have to have sex with the girl.
No, it's not the end. It's when they're kids.
What? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When they're kids, they all have to have, like, sex with the girl, and it's supposed to be like be something where it sends it away.
Yes,
instead of doing like the blood ritual thing that they do.
Yeah, I think they did change that. Stephen King wrote that. Like, he was apparently, like, coked out the entire time.
Yeah, he said there was like books. Love he's that. Like, I don't even remember writing that.
Which you'd have to be to write something that crazy. But so the thing about that was they actually, before the Bill Skarsgård version, they were gonna make a different version. I actually read that Will Poulter was supposed to play Pennywise. I don't know how accurate that is.
Those eyebrows would be scary.
He is such a good actor. I love Will Poulter, so I would have been very interested in that. But anyway, in his version, the kids were supposed to film that scene. That scene was in the script, and the parents were like,
the sex scene?
No, yeah. And they apparently, that's why they, like,
which is understandable. I don't think it would be as, like, big of a cultural touchstone if it was like, it's just kids having sex at the end. Like, that'd be so...
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
I have no desire to watch a children's orgy.
Yeah. So, interesting.
That's gonna be our soundbite. That's gonna be the title.
But that's interesting. Both of our introductions are It.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Kelly?
I'm gonna sound like such a bitch. No. Do y'all remember the Sweet Life of Zach and Cody episode?
No, wait, that is the scariest episode. It's Room something.
Like, but when he goes and, like, does the whole ghost speech and everything, and then he gets, like, yanked back in the chair, I vividly remember, like, pulling the covers over my eyes. I don't even remember how old I was, but, I mean, like, I wasn't watching It and stuff because I was a bitch kid, so... I remember that being like, oh, that terrified me.
So I was like 8 or 9 when that episode came out, so...
When did that come out?
I don't know, but I remember like where I was when I watched that, so I was like 8 or 9.
So you're 3 years older than me.
Yeah.
So I would have been probably like 6 or 7.
It was probably 2003, 2004.
Ooh, that's
so long.
That's too early.
I was 6 in 2002.
That's too early. I would have been
it was probably,
3 in 2003, so.
Yeah, like 2006. Let's say it's like 2006.
Yeah, I probably would have been like 5th grade.
But so I'm curious because, so I would classify that as like kids horror, which I put a whole section in, but I'm curious, like, when did you go from being a bitch kid to being
to like a real kid?
To watching, like what was your first.
A little bitch.
And it sounds weird to say adult horror film. That sounds like it's porn, but I just mean like regular.
a mature
yeah.
horror
I would not have thought it sounded like porn until you said that, and now I can't unsee it. But I think I don't really remember. The first one that comes to mind is I'm pretty sure I was a freshman in high school, and my friend and I watched the first Conjuring that came out. And I remember she and I were like snuggled up, and we were like, oh my God, this is so scary. Like we were watching it at like midnight at my house, and I remember having to go back the next day and like I rewatched some of the scary parts because I had like closed my eyes, and that's the first one I remember that I was like, oh, this is like a horror movie and this is like really scary.
Yeah.
That's the first one I remember.
Okay, that makes sense. Because I think kids horror is interesting. So when you guys came in, I was playing the Disney Channel original film Don't Look Under the Bed, which scared the shit out of me as a kid.
And so she had it on like kind of on mute while we were all talking.
Circa 1999.
And I was looking at it kind of like as we were chatting, I was just like glancing at the screen, and it was scary. Like they turn into the boogeyman, and I was like, oh my God.
It scared the daylights out of me.
Okay, Disney.
And I would say that, and I loved Phantom of the Megaplex, which wasn't as scary.
I remember that. I never watched it, though.
God, I think I'm, like, really aging myself here. So to clarify, I'm 29, Molly's 28, and Kelly, you're 25?
25.
So,
I've never heard of that.
I've heard of it, but I never watched
So
that.
you guys know Phantom of the Opera, right?
Of course.
Yes.
Now picture it with teens, but in a movie theater.
Cute.
Yeah, and I think, like,
See, we watch Twitches, like, I feel like Twitches is, like...
See, I watched Twitches, but again, I think I was, like, a little too old, where I was just, like, Twitches had a weird vibe to me. Where
Well,
it was, like,
just
weirdly
wasn't
dark. Also, my mom's dating a vampire?
I thought you were announcing that to me.
I was like, wait a
I thought you were
minute,
about to say
Alexa.
my mom's dating a
He's a
like,
real
what?
bloodsucker.
Well, I didn't. I remember that movie. I think
Yes,
I did watch it.
that was
She wears the
great.
dress. She, like...
Yes.
The mom wore, like, a very revealing dress in that movie, didn't
Yes.
she? Like, I just specifically remember that.
And it was Jonathan Lipnicki. Is that how you say
Whoa,
his
I
name?
haven't heard that name in so long.
Is that how you say his name? Yeah, he played the
know.
little kid. But anyway, so, like, those are, like, 1999, like, 2000s movies. I think Phantom of the Megaplex, so I worked at a movie theater for 3 years. I thought about Phantom of the Megaplex every single day. And I need to rewatch it. I
scary.
loved that movie. I was like, God, I wish there was
Were
a
you ever
Phantom in this
scared?
movie
I
theater.
have a question. Were you ever scared when you were in a theater by yourself? Like, if you had to clean up or whatever? Because that seems terrifying.
So
to
the
me.
only time I was scared, it was when was it like Blair Witch or something came out? It was one of those ones where it's like they're
Like
kind of
POV.
Yeah, like
kind
they're
of thing,
carrying. And I was cleaning up. There was no one in the theater, and I didn't know that during the credits at the end, like a thing pops out where it's just like,
Oh, there's like another part.
Yes, I literally dropped my like shovel and my bucket, and I
My shovel?
sorry, my
Are
broom.
you shoveling out the Regal
My
movie theater
shovel.
in
Were you,
Williamsburg,
like,
Virginia?
digging a grave or something?
my broom and my bucket. It scared me so bad, and I went to my manager and I said, I'm not cleaning the scary ones anymore.
I'm not cleaning the scary ones. That's
Like,
funny.
that really, like, freaked me out. And, like, being in there, I think, like, the scary ones when you're alone. But there's something kind of creepy about a movie theater
Yeah, that's
in
what
general.
I'm saying. That
But
was really
once
scary.
again, I wanted to be haunted. So, like,
I know.
I was inviting it, you know?
I don't think I ever knew that about you.
That she wants to be
Yeah,
haunted.
I really don't think I ever knew that about you.
I would love that. Like, not like in, like, a, you know, I'm getting dragged out of my bed every night and, like, thrown against the
That'd
wall.
be annoying. You'd never get it sleep. So I think about this often.
You'd be so tired.
Molly's so worried about her REM sleep. That's why she doesn't want to get
genuinely,
haunted.
because like Paranormal Activity, if you watch the first one, I'm gonna get into that later. Okay,
Yeah.
but if you watch the first one, she at some point in the film, the main character, the girl that's being like haunted, she does not get any sleep throughout the whole movie because like later on in the movie she's just like dead tired because she's not sleeping because she's either getting dragged out of her bed, dragged down the stairs, or she's like afraid to go to sleep.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that would be exhausting to be haunted at night.
Yes, exactly. I just want like a friendly haunting, and not like Casper, where it's just like if that's your water bottle just fell right now or something. It's like, oh my God, that was crazy. Or like you're just like, ooh, this is a little spooky-ooky, you know? Mm-hmm. Like I don't want anything like detrimental, but I just want to know. Like,
you don't want to be maimed, but you just want to like know someone's there.
If somebody was really like, if you were, why don't you move into a house in CW then? Colonial Williamsburg.
Move into the Peyton Randolph house.
Move into the Peyton.
I don't think
for
that's
anyone who
allowed
doesn't
anymore.
know, that's a very haunted house.
Yeah,
Apparently
billions
it's one
of
of
people
the
have died.
most haunted houses in the United States. It's in Colonial Williamsburg. Apparently there's been like Ghost Adventures or some sort of show has been there.
Yes.
I have tried so very hard to find the episode of Ghost Adventures or Paranormal something or other that's been there, but I cannot.
I've done ghost tours there, and I've never gone inside. You can go inside on tours.
Can I tell you the freakiest thing I've ever witnessed?
No.
Go ahead, say what you want to say.
Well, I was going to say, I thought they couldn't do ghost tours in the Peyton Randolph house because they used to, and then people were getting like
scratches.
Scratched.
Oh my god!
Pushed down the
so
stairs.
scary.
Because y'all know the backstory of it, right?
Yeah.
So
that was one of the college students, right? Like the college girls.
For
There's
those
one
who
house that
don't know. We live near Colonial Williamsburg. It's like a colonial house, and it's like I think like a few 4 people have died there at least. Like multiple people in like suspicious.
Where college girls lived there, and they were also getting like haunted.
I heard it was because he was like a very notorious slave owner and did not do good things in any sense, and so that's why there was like bad juju in the house.
That makes sense as well. But so when I was in high school, one of my friends, her mom was a like ghost tour guide at Colonial Williamsburg, so she was like, "Oh, I'll take you guys on like our own like ghost tour or whatever." So we did that. We drove around. She told us there was like freaky stuff that happened that we saw. But the scariest thing was she was like, "Have you guys been to like the abandoned railroad tracks?" And we were like, "No." And I cannot remember where these tracks are. I've been trying to find them. So what was freaky is you pull up, and I'm not kidding. Like the wheels hit the tracks, and the whole car like fogged up. Like the windows fogged up, and then she was like, "You have to turn the car off." So we did, and then. Like, and again, she's driving. It's like 2 girls, like one of my guy friends or whatever, and me. And so we're sitting there, and the radio starts like making a static noise, but the car is off. And then the freaky thing is like people say it always looks like a train is coming towards you because there's like a bend. You could see like a train, like it looked like the light from a train was coming around the corner the whole time. I was trying to convince my friends to get out and get onto the train tracks with me.
Okay.
But I didn't want to do it by myself.
I knew you were going to say that you wanted to get out of the car.
I didn't want to do it myself, but no one would do it with me. But here's the freaky thing. So the girl I was with, who was she was just one of my friends or whatever, she like was like, "Oh my god, my nose is bleeding, ah!" And we were like, "What?" And then like she like started laughing. She was like, "I'm just kidding." Like she was trying to act like she was possessed. The second we left the railroad tracks, her nose started bleeding profusely. She had blood streaming down her face. We had to go to the Wawa in Colonial Williamsburg and like get napkins, and like she was freaking out. Like she had never had a nosebleed before in her life.
That is so freaky.
So I gotta find these
tracks.
tracks.
Was that spirit like getting back at her.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm gonna go back
I'll
to
go
these
with
tracks. Will you get on the tracks with me?
We'll see how much wine I have before we answer that.
But anyway, so that's the freakiest thing that's ever happened to me, and I loved it. I mean, I'm sure the girl didn't because her nose was like bleeding out everywhere, but you know.
But Alexa had a good time, so that's all that
I was
matters.
like, I'm gonna tell this story till I die.
That's crazy.
And then when I haunt people, that's what I'm gonna do.
Is make their noses bleed?
No, just keep telling my.
Oh, you just tell that story of when someone haunted you?
They're just gonna be asleep. I'm just gonna be like, one time when I was in high school.
Why not just haunt them? You have the opportunity to now haunt them.
But best kind of haunting.
Instead, talk about when someone haunted you.
Yes, because the best kind of haunting to me is just talking about myself for all eternity. Yeah. Imagine the horror.
God,
the horror.
No, filibustering them to death.
Yes, exactly.
That's the name of one of our episodes. Anyway, yeah, that's interesting.
So back to movies.
Yeah, back to pop culture.
So I have a whole page of notes that I wrote down for this entire episode because I was so excited to be on a podcast because I think it's really cool that I'm on my friend's podcast.
Yay!
One of the ones I had, because you guys mentioned like the original It, what are like your favorite original horror movies?
That they've
made
classics remakes of?
No, just like
old ones.
The OG ones. What are your favorites?
I'll let y'all go first.
So mine... Okay, you go first because I'm trying to figure out how old to go.
I think mine... I'm thinking like the ones that have made remakes.
Yeah.
Those originals.
Okay.
So I would say mine are like Scream.
Okay.
But
I watched that for the first time last year.
I only like the first
Scream.
3. I think the rest of them are too gory. I tried to get into like the Halloween Michael Myers kind of thing, but there's too many of them.
It's too dark.
There's
it's
too
too
many
deep of a story.
And it really pissed me off, and I think it was like the second to last one, that there's this mob that is beating the hell out of this man. And they don't kill him, and he gets up and he gets away, and they're like, oh my god, where did he go? I'm like, kill him. Maybe that's because I watch too many crime documentaries, and I'm like, if there's a serial killer near me, like, I'm making sure, like, he can't get me afterwards.
Yeah.
But I was like, you idiots. Like, it's not amateur hour. Like, be better. Just
People
be better.
are always stupid in scary movies, but also at the same time, if someone were trying to kill me, I don't know how smart I would be. I'd like to think I'm, like, crafty on my feet, but also I think I would just be like, oops.
I would make sure they couldn't. If I'm running, I'm going to make sure they can't catch me. I've thought about this a lot.
But how?
Any way possible.
Interesting.
Maybe, like, I think the first image that comes to my mind, because it's weird that I think about this a lot, is like a crowbar.
But, like, that's assuming there's, like, a crowbar near you.
Yeah, that is. I don't know where I am that this crowbar is in play, but...
Let's say right now we're sitting in my home office,
okay,
and someone comes in to murder us. Look around this room. You've seen the layout of the house.
I would take the Stanley.
Okay. What's your plan,
Ding.
Kelly?
I am grabbing this glass lamp that's near me, or the wine bottle.
Take the wine bottle.
Yeah. That's sturdier than that Target lamp.
If I can get to their head without breaking the wine bottle, I'm going to beat them over the head with the wine bottle until they are unconscious and they cannot move. Or if they are incapacitated, I'm breaking their kneecaps.
You just
so
gotta do
move.
it one time, because I was just watching Only Murders in the Building today, and this isn't really a spoiler, but there's a scene where Steve Martin gets accidentally hit in the head with a wine bottle, and it, like, knocks him out completely.
Yeah.
So, I think...
See, I just want to make sure. Like, I don't want to give them the chance to come after me, so, like, I'm going to, like, incapacitate you, and then I'm going to break your kneecaps, so you can't chase me.
Okay. Wait, you were asking...
Oh, so Scream.
How did we get there?
Scream.
Yeah, Screams.
You know what? I am in my Scream era right now, because I've always watched Scream, but I've never, like, seen the movie in its entire... Like, I've never just sat there and watched the whole movie until last week.
Like the original first one?
Yeah. Because I've always seen, like, bits and pieces of it. I know what happens. I know, like, the whole movie, but I've never actually... I don't think I've ever sat there and just, like, and watched it. It is so good. Like, I just love it so much.
Interesting. I think I like it too. It doesn't scare me though.
It doesn't scare me either, but there's something about it. The way that they get very, like, meta, and, like, it's like the whole thing of, like, the tropes and
like, I just think it's a classic.
It's so clever too. Like, it's just such a good movie.
Yeah.
And I think the
good twist,
first 3 have, like, a solid storyline, like a continuing storyline. I think the first 3 have, like, a solid continuous storyline. The rest, A, I think they're just too gory.
Yeah.
B, Courtney Cox's plastic surgery looks horrendous.
Gosh, yeah.
C, like, they're just trying to, like, grasp at, like, too many things. Like, I don't know if y'all have seen the most recent one.
No. Yeah.
Do you care if I spoil it?
I've seen the most recent ones, yeah.
I don't care.
So basically, like, the villain or something, like, the main character is, like, the original movies, Billy's long lost daughter of something of like somebody else's mother. Like, it's just like a stretch that they're grabbing for to try to make more movies, and they could have stopped after 3 and it would have been perfectly fine.
Yeah, there's like a whole new era of, because what's her name? Who plays the daughter? Well, it's Jenna Ortega is one of them, but then
she played the sister of
the daughter.
Of the daughter. Yeah.
I can't think of a single, like, scary movie where it's like, you know, sometimes, like, it's like the sequel's better than the first one. I can't think of a scary movie franchise where I'm like, yeah, the 5th one was great. Or, like, I think Saw, maybe the second, I think it was the second or the third one was really good.
Do you like the Saw movies? Do you guys like the Saw movies?
Not the latest
ones.
With those. I will say, you usually
like the originals?
I can't handle torture porn a lot of the time, but I think Saw was very original. I think it was unique for its time.
I do too.
And I think, like, it's wild.
So the first one maybe, but I can't, like, all the torture, the different methods, it's just like, that's too much for me. I love the Final Destination movies.
Oh, yeah.
I love all of them.
I'm going to be honest. Remember when...
You would like those, I
haven't seen those.
You would really like those.
Was it you or Megan that I was riding a polished chariot with a couple weeks ago?
Megan, because I didn't want to ride it for some reason.
Every time I'm on a roller coaster, I think of...
Me too.
Every time.
You know why?
That's just,
why
like,
I didn't
not
ride
good.
it that time. Because, like, I used to love a polished chariot. For context, it's a ride at Busch Gardens. I just can't ride anymore. And I've been thinking, like, it just, every time I get on a roller coaster now, I think of Final Destination 3.
For extra context about Apollo's Chariot, it was the one, you can Google this image, Fabio was riding said roller coaster and got
by a goose.
railed in the face by a goose. And the picture that the roller coaster took is just him sitting with a defeated look on his face, with just a bloody nose everywhere.
Which, like,
it's so funny to me.
I wrote it a couple weekends ago when friend of the pod, Tanya, shout out, she also was on the episode, we were standing there in line, and it was Hermie and Chris we were talking about. I said, yeah, that must have hurt. And they looked at me and they were like, he broke his nose. Like, I was like, I just didn't put that together.
I think about that often, too, when I'm on roller coasters, is like, that's why I try not to scream or open my mouth, because I'm just like, if something fell in my mouth right now, or if something hit me in the face, even if it's just like a phone, someone's phone fell out, what if someone's phone hit me in the face? It would hurt so bad.
It would hurt so bad.
Okay, but anyway, back to what we were talking about. Okay, so
That's
Scream, what were your other ones? Did you have other ones?
I would say Scream is my favorite, like, classic one. Like, it's not, the original is not, like, super scary to me, but I also watched it, like, when I was older.
Matthew Lillard.
But
so that's the other thing, is like, I'm really in my Matthew Lillard era.
Him as Scooby-Doo, I had the biggest, like, I was like, I don't care about Fred. I was
Shaggy.
like, sorry, yeah.
He didn't play him as Scooby-Doo. No, and so that, after I watched
Him is
Scream,
that Great Dane.
You guys, I'm not kidding. After I watched Scream last week, I literally was just on my iPad desperately I was going on every single platform trying to find Scooby-Doo. I was like, does this one have Scooby-Doo? Like, I was like, please, all I want is more Matthew Lillard. Like, I just love
Have you ever
something.
seen Without a Paddle?
No.
It's a comedy movie from the early 2000s, and it's a young buck of Matthew Lillard, and it's very
so hot.
funny, if I remember. I think you would like it, and it has, who's that short little redheaded guy from the Austin Powers?
Is that Scream?
Yeah.
My first crush?
He's in it, yeah.
Oh, maybe I should watch this
and
movie.
there's someone else who's in it. It's good.
So, okay, here's the
Not
thing.
a scary movie.
Here's the thing, is I realized when I was watching Scream that I was like, man, Alexa's right. Because Alexa thinks I'm like...
I mean, I love that, but why?
I'm attracted to, like, really crazy, creepy guys, is because, like, Matthew Lillard's eyes in Scream, when he... I can't say his last name. When they're, like, when the whole twist is happening and he's, like, well, okay, spoiler alert for someone who hasn't seen Scream, but when he's, like, revealing himself to be one of the killers, and, like, his eyes are, like, so crazy, and he's so, like, insane, but I'm like, he's so hot.
He would play a good, what is it, Ozzy Osbourne, who has, like, the people were like, oh, he has a cow tongue or whatever. He would play a good one of him. Is it Ozzy?
Wow.
What? The, like, rock star who's, like...
Ozzy Osbourne?
Yeah, who has, like, the really long tongue.
I don't know about a long tongue. He used to eat
There was one who, like,
would eat, like, he would eat bugs.
I'm not familiar with his tongue.
I'm really not.
Ozzy Osbourne.
You didn't tell me that was on the list of topics today.
No. She is literally Googling...
Oh, Gene Simmons. That's who it is.
She's literally Googling rock star with long tongue. Insane.
Look at that tongue.
Ew.
Anyways, I think Matthew
That's
Lillard
from Kiss.
also... Yeah, okay, whatever.
Okay, if you'd have said Kiss, I probably would have gotten, like, yeah.
Look at that.
That's the iconic
wild.
image of Kiss.
Okay.
That is a cow tongue. Oh, look at Jojo Siwa.
That's repulsive, kind of.
Yeah. Okay.
You're looking at me.
Okay.
Wait, Matthew, she just typed in Matthew Lillard tongue.
That's him in Scream, and that's
sorry.
when I was
How did
like...
you know to look that up?
Because I remember he stuck his tongue out.
He does. Look at that one.
The thing I notice about people, I do
Ew.
notice a tongue.
Ew! Why does it
Do you have
look
a
like
tongue
that?
thing, Alexa?
I don't have a tongue thing. I
What
don't
does
like
Chris's
find...
tongue look like?
I think it's
Oh,
normal.
he's so hot. Scroll up, scroll up, scroll up, scroll up, scroll up. Go down, go down.
Okay.
Go down. Right there? Oh!
Yeah.
See, my thing
Ooh,
is,
I want this sticker.
I saw Scooby-Doo before I
gonna
saw
get you that
the
sticker.
OG Scream, so, like, I can't unsee him as Shaggy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. He still looks good today. Like, he's just a good-looking man. I love him. Anyway,
So,
okay. Scream.
Yeah.
So you love Scream.
What was yours, Molly?
So, okay, to go back to, like, an OG one, I might say, like, The Shining.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I love The Shining. I love the original Carrie. I love Stephen King.
Oh, you were her for the work Halloween.
Yeah. So we can get into
Which
this
was
later.
great. We literally, like, strung up a bucket of red streamers and hung it above you.
Yes.
Their entire department did an entire, like, Stephen King tour. Like, I walked through it, and Alexa would, like, lead us through, and
I was
like,
dressed as
she
the
was
state
like,
of
you
Maine.
can go to-
My favorite was when, before she
Oh.
came to me, she'd go, you can go to prison. She's talking about, like, Shawshank. Or you can go to prom. And then
Yeah.
I'd do, like, a scream. That was my first Halloween.
It was so cool.
That was my first Halloween at our company, and our company does like a big Halloween thing, and we did Stephen King in our department, and I really loved it. It was so fun.
And I also loved that when I told people I was going to be the state of Maine, everyone was like, "What?"
It's so Alexa to be like, I'm not going to be a book. I'm going to be I'm going to be Maine.
I'm like,
McCall
it
would
basically
appreciate
is
that.
a character in the book. Okay, so mine is The Ring, and here's the thing.
Yeah.
So a little while ago, Chris, Matthew, and I forced Molly to watch The Ring. We were like, you have to watch it. It's classic horror.
I've never seen it.
But it did come out in 2001, and you were like, it's good, but also, like, you're like, I do feel like other movies have done this. And it's so frustrating to watch, like, a classic after the fact, because I was like, yes, but this was the first one.
But it just wasn't that. It was scary, but first of all, the yellow filter on the movie, I couldn't get over the whole time. Such a yellow filter on the movie. Anyway, and it just wasn't, like, it was scary, but it didn't, like, stand out to me. Yeah. That's how I felt. So I also recently watched Silence of the Lambs for the first time.
Love.
Like, earlier this year. But I actually thought it was, like, a little, and this is an unpopular pick because I know everybody loves it, but I just was like, it's fine. Like, I just thought it was a little boring. Yeah. I don't know. But there's so many it was the first, probably one of the earliest, like, psychological horror movies where it wasn't, like, outright scary. And I think there's been so many now since then that I'm just kind of like...
There is a very fine line between, like, horror movies and thrillers. Like, it is a very fine line because you're like, oh, it's just, like, a mental horror movie, but then you're like, well, is that a thriller?
Yeah.
Like, I think there's... Like, that line is very thin.
Yeah. Also, I was going to say, I remember, like, so the first time I watched The Ring, it was my sister was having her birthday party in, like, she was, like, in 6th grade or something. And again, I watched it, like, way too young. And it was a sleepover. And have you seen it, Kelly?
I think I have, but it's been a long time.
So the whole premise is, like, you watch this film and then you're haunted. Again, my dream. And, but, like, afterwards, like, as soon as you watch it, the phone rings and a voice comes and they go, 7 days. And so, again, a bunch of 11-year-olds and me are upstairs. We've watched this film. My mom, who doesn't sleep, literally calls the upstairs phone.
That's funny.
And then, like, they answer it. It's on speaker, and she just goes, 7 days, into the phone. And then all these, like, 11-year-old girls are like, ah!
Okay, that's funny.
That is
funny. That's funny.
Yeah. So, I think it's, like, a very creative... I think it's one of the most well-done... like, horror films of all time. It's just unfortunate that it's, like, become a trope now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't stand out to me by the time I saw it, but I'm sure if I had seen it when it came out, like, it would have been, mind-blowing.
Yeah.
But, well, I don't know. Do you guys want to talk about your favorite, like, what are movies that you go back to often? Like, if you're just like, I want to watch a horror movie, and it's one I've already seen before, but I just loved watching it.
You know, the thing is I actually don't rewatch a lot of horror because I think, like, for me, the horror is in, like, the not knowing.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes, like, it's a little bit ruined, but I do love rewatching horror with people. Like, if I've already seen it, and I'm like when we did Haunting of Hill House, I had already seen it, I had Chris watch it, and the whole time I was like,
sorry.
It is so good!
I'm joking.
Shout out to my friend Emily, who literally texted us and was like, I watched Haunting of Hill House, and it was phenomenal.
That is on my notes. I have a whole thing about that.
Have you seen it?
Oh, I've seen that one. I've seen The Haunting of Bly Manor. I've seen The Fall of the House of Usher.
You're a flan head, too.
Of
Ew,
course.
Not a flan head.
I have got all of it. It is in my notes.
I'm a Murph head.
Okay, let's talk about it, because I'm sweating.
It is quite hot now.
Just accidentally, like, show Kelly my whole body.
So,
anyways.
I remember... I love it. I remember... it was my sophomore year of college when The Haunting of Hill House came out, and my roommates and I were watching, and I loved that show. Like, I loved it. It was super creepy and weird, and I don't know if I'm allowed to spoil this or not, but the one scene where she, like, jumps out in the car... You remember they're, like, driving and she, like, pops up from the back seat, like, they're arguing?
Yes!
My friend and we quite literally shit ourselves, jumped so high, and we both were on the floor. It scared the ever-living shit out of us. But that one I loved, and then I was so happy when they came out with The Haunting of Bly Manor, which, it's not like a sequel, but it's the same production, same cast, just different story.
I was telling Molly, it's kind of like how Ryan Murphy with American Horror Story, it's like an anthology series, but it's like the same cast a lot of times, and he'll like bring in some new actors or like recycle old ones or whatever.
So I didn't think The Haunting of Bly Manor was as good as Hill House.
No, it was boring.
Have y'all seen The Fall of the House of Usher?
Yes.
Okay,
I've seen all of his work.
Okay,
Sorry.
lovely. My roommate and I,
His oeuvre.
when we first moved to Richmond last October, was when it came out. So she and I watched it, and I remember she and I loved it. And before we realized it was like a horror thing, like we had taped sticky notes to the walls, and we were making like a murder board, and we were like, we're gonna find out who the snitch is. Like we had connections and strings. It was so fun. And we used to watch all the episodes together, but it was scary, and I loved it. It was so good. I bragged about it at work.
Yeah.
But there were some times that we would have to, like, watch, like you said, like a comfort show afterwards, just because we were like, that episode was, like, a little spooky scary.
Yeah.
And my comfort show is Octonauts.
What is
You know
that?
what that is? It is a children's show that I found when I was nannying a 1-year-old the summer after I graduated college. And it is these little sea creatures that all have European, like Scottish and British and Irish accents, and they go around and they save other sea creatures, and it is so stinking cute, and I highly recommend it.
I did not expect you to say that.
No, it's for like 1-year-olds, and if you have a
cute.
1-year-old, I hope they're not listening to this, but also I would recommend Octonauts because it's so stinking cute.
There's something for everybody.
I think, like, especially with Haunting of Hill House, I love Mike Flanagan because I think he brings a lot of, like, emotion and depth, and like it's like kind of like the real horror is like yourself and people. I love the bent neck lady. I'm not gonna like spoil anything, but like how that plays out
that scared the
is
shit
so
out of me.
phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
How would you rank his like shows? So have you seen them all?
Yes.
How would you rank them?
I personally would probably give a 9 out of 10 just because I didn't think Bly Manor was great.
Yeah.
I love how there's always this like it interconnects with like this backstory that you don't realize until later in the series, and then you're like, oh shit, like I get it, which I love because I love a continuous storyline. Like I love that kind of stuff, and I think it's different than any of the shows I had seen, but it was also to me like the first show that was like scary.
Yeah.
Which, you know, after so long, you go through all the Netflix, you go through all the Hulus, you've gone through all of the scary movies they have on there.
And
and there's only so many good ones.
It's hard to scare me now.
So there's only so many good ones. And so that one had, I think, his stuff has a good amount of like the jump scare aspect as well as like the mind fuck aspect of it.
Yeah.
And I love it. And like you just never know. Like it keeps you guessing. Like my roommate and I literally were trying to figure out this whole murder chart, and then we get to the end and we're like, we were totally wrong. Like we had nothing to do with that.
And I think like one thing I love about horror is when it is like it's not just like horror for horror's sake. There's like a backstory. There's like a reason to things.
It ties
like
into
that's why I
everything.
liked The Ring, where again, spoiler, but it's also been out for like 50 billion years.
Yeah.
Where it's like the girl's in a well because her mom hated her and put her down there, and it's like this whole trauma thing. And I think like so we talked about Midnight Mass privately in a text message between me and Molly. I don't know why I'm saying like we talked about it, and you were like, maybe I'll consider it because there's a hot priest. I love Midnight Mass. I think it's like more. Am I using macabre right? But it's like, it's definitely is like a little bit slower start, but like it is, I think, a beautiful show. Like it is just, I think like American Horror Story is really good because it's a little scary, but I think Midnight Mass is like a really good like study in character and just like, I think there were times I like cried during it. It is, and did you know that the woman in, in Haunting of Hill House who's like wears the gloves and stuff, she is Mike Flanagan's wife. She's
the one that can feel things of people. So her role in The Fall of the House of Usher, that was weird and like nuts, and I was just like, oh, I did not see that coming.
Yeah, but so that's his wife, and I think she is stunning. Her
she's
smile
stunningly
is so
beautiful.
Yeah,
she's very beautiful.
Yeah, but I know Molly has nothing to add to anything about Mike Flanagan, so I apologize.
It's fine. I was just gonna say though, when you were saying the thing about like basically scares for no reason, it's why I don't really like I've seen all the Conjuring movies, but just things like that though, I don't like things that are just like jump scares. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's why probably I tend to lean more towards like psychological horror and like I don't want to be like good horror, but like genuinely good horror movies, because like I don't ever, if you're ever like flipping through like Netflix or whatever, like you know, if you're wanting to, like, watch a scary movie or something, I hate that moment where you're just, like, somebody's like, oh, that looks scary. And I'm like, do we know if it's scary, though? Because I don't want to just sit through something that's just, like, trash, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just jump scares for the sake of, like, jump scares, but not actually scary.
I like a good, like, I don't like a whole, like, it's all jump scares. I think if you do a jump scare every now and then, that's good. But I also, like, one thing I appreciate about, like, Jordan Peele or Ari Aster is sometimes it'll be a scene where I'm like, this is scary to me, and I can't describe why. Like I am uncomfortable.
Hereditary is genuinely one of the scariest movies to me.
Yeah.
Because, like, there's just certain scenes in it, like, when she's, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but... there's like a scene where Toni Collette's character is like banging her head really hard against the attic door, or she's like in the corner and just like standing. It's just like so terrifying to me.
Yeah. So I think like things like that, or like sometimes like Jordan Peele will use like certain colors that are just like this is disconcerting or something like that, and I think that's like really like a skill, and I think that. But I also do appreciate a good jump scare, and I will say going through haunted houses, it is tough to scare me. I want a haunted house where it's, like, surprise me.
Well, a lot of times, too, when I go through the haunted houses and stuff with my friends, like, I'm not the one in the middle, like, you know, cowering between somebody. So all the scarers are going to go after them, not, like,
I know,
whoever's in the front just, like, walking through.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah.
At Molly.
I do tend to target myself, but I just... Not target myself. I do tend to make myself the target because I'm so easily scared.
I'm just thinking we did like one of those haunted hay rides, and it was like pigmen like got on the hay ride, and literally like they would be next to Molly's face, and they would just like snort, and Molly would be like, ah!
No, and
I remember that.
They'd be like, you guys would be like, Molly, like what, like whatever.
Because there was like a little girl next to me, and they were like picking on Molly.
Yeah.
There in the other
At
corner.
one point, one of them asked Matthew. They were like yelling at me, and then one of them was like, "What's her name?" And he was like, "Molly," and he was like, he's like a pig man. What's her name?
I just remember like we go to like this winery. They turn their cellar into a haunted house. It's actually legitimately good,
It's
but
really
sometimes
scary.
Oh, it's great. We've gone for like 3 years in a row.
So because it's so claustrophobic.
Yeah,
it's so scary.
they're like genuinely disconcerting sometimes. So we went through this really dark part, and it was me, Chris, and someone else. I can't remember who was with us, and we were clearly idiots. Like we couldn't figure out where to go, and out of the fog from the ground comes a hand that's just like pointing in the direction to go. He was literally like these drunk fools, like go this way.
That's a problem. You drink wine and then you go.
Well,
through
I was
this
gonna say that's their fault for having it at a winery and giving you wine tickets.
Yeah. It was. We were like, I think it was like me, Chris, and James. We were just like, what? Where are we?
James in his like cape, his like
he left.
Cape.
I remember like it was like somehow me and James at the end, and they like did a chainsaw. James got scared. All I see is his cape leaving me in the dust as he's running out, and I was just like, okay, great.
Funny is you really do know a person by their Halloween costume, because like you just said earlier, like Kelly, like you associate Kelly with like the first time you met her was like in a costume or whatever. The first time like if we're talking about James, like I'm for the longest time I was like, oh, is that the wizard guy? Because like that's who he was dressed as. Like it's just other people are like that too. Where I'm like, oh, is it that person that was dressed as blah blah?
I really thought you were gonna say you can really tell who your friends are by how they treat you in a haunted
house.
I did
too.
Because
and I was gonna be like, well, you must think I'm shit because me and Chris are always like, Molly,
yeah, you guys are so
like,
mean.
This
to
girl,
me.
this girl right here, like shoving you into the people.
So one of my friends so I've lived in like the same neighborhood my whole life. A bunch of us kids have lived in like the same cul-de-sac. We're all good friends. We went to Ashlandberry Farms, which for those of you who don't know, it's like this place in Richmond, and they do a bunch of like little haunted houses and stuff. And
we're going in a few weeks.
I know we're going. I'm so excited. And it was like a really dark one. And we were like over this bridge, and my neighbor was behind me, and this guy jumps out with like a chainsaw, starts running. This bitch goes, oh shit, shoves me into the wall, and I literally hit the wall and like fell, and I was like, all right. So like if we were really in a situation, you really would have just like left me to this man with a chainsaw. And also, you're a bitch for pushing me into the wall, but
I mean, true.
Speaking
what?
So me, Molly, Megan, and Matthew.
I was about to say I'm a very clingy friend, clearly, because I hang on to you guys when I'm scared.
Last year we went into this immersive experience in Richmond. Literally you drive up, it's like an abandoned house with a fire in the front of it. It's called the Nefarious Project. And you can pick which level you want to do. And we did like one step down from like the scariest level. And I'm not kidding. You walk in, they're like screaming in your face. They're like, "You're a stupid fucking blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah."
they immediately put Matthew in a cage.
Yeah, and we had to like find the key while they're like screaming in your face. They literally like sat Megan down and put like a can or something and like like not with a real gun but like a whatever.
It sounded
like a
real.
BB
They
yeah,
shoot-
like
they
shot a
shot
can off
something,
face.
yeah.
But here's how I know, like, so at the end, I'm chained to this person who's screaming the whole time. They're just screaming. And I was like, guys, where is the key to unlock me? Where is the key? And Molly was just like, I don't know. And then she's just getting her fortune read.
Because I gave up. No, Kelly, I literally gave up during this thing. At one point, I literally stood there. This wasn't in this room. It was a different room. They were yelling everybody. They were making us look through blood for things. And I was literally like, I don't want to be here anymore. Like, I was literally like, I don't want to do this. And I think they knew, like, they can kind of, like, read the room and be like, okay, this girl is, like, not into this. So, like, let's maybe not, whatever.
Yeah.
Finally, in the last room, Megan is being, like, tortured by some girl in a bed. Matthew is probably getting his shoes stolen again by somebody because somebody took his shoes at one point.
I think I remember you telling me about that.
And then Alexa is literally like getting chained to a person. She's like, guys, help me.
And literally the person the whole time, the person goes, the whole time. We're like, I'm chained like this close. No one's listening to me. Matthew's like walking around. I'm like, guys, we need the key. I need a key.
Listen to this. So I'm the only one. So you had to get 4 tokens. We all 4 had to get a token in order to get out of this house.
Yeah.
But we were clearly at the end of our time because we're dumb idiots.
Yeah.
And so
it was hard.
It was really hard. And so finally, like, I was the only one. I was literally just standing there, and the lady was reading a fortune. She was like, "Let me read your fortune," and I was. I was the one who actually got us out of there, even though I didn't do shit, because she was reading my fortune, and she was like, "Here's a token." She just handed it to me, and she was like, "Go, like, here's your token."
Leave.
Yeah. And I was like, "Guys, I got us out. I got the token."
By that point, I had unlocked myself.
They were all covered in blood. I was the only one.
I was deaf. I was just like, someone help me. And Molly's like, really? And what's the next card say? Like, Christ. And then, but I do have to say, on the way there, I had looked up nothing about this haunted house. Like, a coworker said it. So I finally, like, I pulled up their Facebook, and I just started laughing so hard in the backseat because the only picture is a guy with a gun to someone's head, and the person is screaming.
And they were like, I was sitting in the front seat, Matthew was driving, and I was sitting in the passenger seat, and Alexa and Megan were looking at them. They were like, do not show Molly this. Like, they literally were like, don't show
I was like,
Molly
no, it's
this.
gonna be super fun and chill.
I was so scared that whole night.
So that's what I know about Molly from haunted houses.
But I think I would...
Molly was like, good luck.
No, but at the same time, I hold on to people, like, I cling on to people, so really I will never let you by yourself because I don't want to be by myself, so.
She might not help, but she won't leave you alone.
Exactly. Like, I will be with you whether you want me there or not.
On that note, I would like to refill the wine. And I also, so we were talking about Halloween costumes. What?
Which one?
Which wine?
There's 2 wines.
Oh, I want the white wine.
Okay.
I do believe I'm the only one drinking red.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm allergic.
We're drinking a barefoot Riesling.
I'm not criticizing you for not drinking red. I'm just saying I am my father's daughter.
What are you drinking, Kelly?
I am drinking Miami Pinot Noir.
Ooh.
It's delish. My father might have cursed me with it, but that's fine.
So I don't remember which one put on the list, but what's everyone's favorite Halloween costume they've ever done?
Oh, I did put that one on the list. So I have a few.
Okay.
Because I've done a lot of Halloween.
Well, yeah, I can't remember if it was last year or the year before, you were like, here's my Halloween costume spreadsheet.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, I
I
will.
was like, oh, okay.
I have made, every year, I make mood boards for all my different Halloween costumes, and
she'll send them to us.
Yeah.
And be like, I'm like, she made a mood board for this?
oh no, so last year
it.
I made 13 mood boards of different Halloween costumes. This current year, I probably had a list of 20 for McCall and I, narrowed it down to probably like 10, made a mood board. It was an entire PDF. Like, I went into InDesign, made it, exported it as a PDF, showed it to him, and I was like, here's some costume ideas. And I narrowed it down to like 4. But, so my senior year of college are both of 2 of mine. So, have you guys seen Burlesque?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you know the last scene when Christina Aguilera is performing Show Me How You're Burlesque, and she's in like the all gold,
Yeah.
like kind of one thing. So that's what I wanted to do, and it was such a fun costume. I got to wear the all gold. I felt so cool. Nobody knew who I was, but I didn't care because I was like, this is so cool. And then that same year, so my house in college was called the Swamp. So naturally, all of us did Shrek characters for one night, and I was Ogre Fiona.
Okay.
And I painted my face and everything green.
Oh my god.
I went to Goodwill and found a dress that I'm pretty sure somebody's grandmother died in. And it was like this green, emerald green dress. It was perfect. But it was too small for me. So I cut holes in the back of it with scissors, bought green ribbon, and basically made it a corset because it didn't zip in the back because it was way too small. So that was another fun one because that same night we were walking to the bar from our house. We had already had many a drink. And like this mom and this little girl were like, oh my gosh, this is so cute. Like, can we stop and can we like take a picture with you? And we're like, sure, why not? And we did. Aww. And then the year that I went with you guys, I think it was 2 years ago when I was Harley Quinn. I loved that one. That was a good one. Loved the Harley Quinn one.
Yeah. My favorite one of Molly. I just love, because I was recently creeping on your profile to look for a picture to add to one of our posts, as I do, and I just love the one of you from Midsummer where you're making the screaming.
I was thinking that actually.
Okay. Sorry if I stole your thunder. I just had to say.
I was going through as Kelly was talking. You know, I'm like, I'm only thinking about myself. I'm like, yeah. I'm just kidding. No, I was thinking like, I was kind of going back to childhood. Honestly, I have some good ones from childhood.
What was your first Halloween costume? You know,
I was as a 1-year-old, I was a pumpkin. Oh. I was a mouse when I was 2, and I think mouse was cute. Anyway,
that's an ironic. You hate rats,
but I was a cute little mouse. Okay. And so I had really good ones as a kid, but I was thinking like when I was like 8, I was a genie, and it was the cutest costume. Wow. It was so intricate. I was like. First of all, I wish I had the body that I did when I was 8, because, like, I looked so good.
Okay, I think I've shown you the picture of me where I'm, like, I peaked at 4.
Exactly.
This is weird. I was so hot.
I know, that's how I was as an 8-year-old genie. Like, I was in, like, a two-piece, like, stomach, like, I was, like, I had, like, abs. Like,
you were the moment.
I could see that for you.
But I was thinking, like, I did love my Pulp Fiction costume that I did.
That was our first Halloween together, where we were like, I wanted to do a bloody nose, and I was like, well, here, I have some red lipstick, and you were like, well,
are you okay with that? Like,
and I was like, I'm just gonna throw it away. I had it for, they would have been in my purse for 6 years, so.
Oh, God, yeah, and somebody who I didn't know either, like, put it on me, too. I don't remember who it was.
I think it was Carolyn.
Right, and at the time I didn't know her.
Yeah.
And then, that was a cute one. And then, Midsummer was cute. I feel like I worked hard on the Midsummer one.
So here's a hot take. I hate Halloween costumes. And it's because when I was little, my mom was really into Halloween costumes, and I would just be in the most uncomfortable things. Like, I remember being a witch and just, like I felt like I had all the snot in the witch's nose or whatever. I remember I dressed up. I don't know if you guys remember the show was called Trolls with a Z, where it was like there's a pink one, there's a purple one, and the only one we could find was the purple one. So it basically has an afro with 2 like big purple like pigtails on it. So my mom, and this was like right before I had hit puberty, so I grew wide before I grew out. So I looked rough. My mom like cut it out in the shape of a heart around the big puffs and sent it to my teacher, and she put it on like the wall. And I literally was like, I fucking hate Halloween costume.
Did you dress as a table one time? Like your mom put you
on a Scrabble board.
Scrabble board. That's so funny. You had to like walk around.
It was for Spirit Week. I don't remember. It was like something, I don't even remember what the theme was.
Funny.
But my 2 friends got to be Scrabble tiles. They just wore t-shirts with like an A and an H. My mom made a huge cardboard thing, and to make it look like a Scrabble board, and the layer or the words said things like spirit and lions because of my high school. But
she put so much effort into it.
She did. But imagine you're 15 years old and you're walking around your high school as a Scrabble board.
You're walking past like your crush and just like have a Scrabble
And then she
board.
did this thing where it was like the hat was like she got it from Dollar Tree, and it was a duck, but she like covered over the duck part with paper, but it still was shaped like a duck, and she put the Scrabble like tiles on it. And then there was one where it was aliens versus zombies. I was an alien. She got 2 prosthetic arms, but they're both, she could only find left hands. So they're both lefties.
This out of context is going to be amazing because it's just going to be photos of Alexa in her old costumes. I hope there's photos.
So they're both lefties. I'm wearing a green shirt. So then she sewed them to me. So that way it looked like I had 4 arms, but everyone just thought I was a bug. Because they were like, what? Like, I was like, I don't know.
So here's my question. My next question is, were your parents were your moms, make it themselves costumes?
Oh, yeah.
Or were you the bin and you just pick things out of the bin?
No.
Or did your moms buy the costumes?
My mom is very creative.
Because I think there's three types of, like, Halloween costume families.
Actually, why am I even answering?
Yeah, I think it's clear.
Yeah, it's clear.
So, okay, Kelly, what was yours?
I think we usually bought the costumes.
Yeah.
But it also depended on, like, what I wanted to be. And...
But you're very creative, so I could see you guys being, like, ones that, like, put things together.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was more so, like, with... Like, because I remember, like, one year I wanted to be, like, a dead bride situation thing, and, like, my mom did, like, the whole face makeup thing, so it was more so in that, but, like, the actual, like, clothing itself, I didn't really get into, like, the DIY Halloween costumes until I got, like, older and, like, really into Halloween.
Yeah. That's true.
I miss college costumes because they were so easy. I would just wear what I called my hoe clothes, where it was literally just, like, I still have it. It's, like, a black, like, pencil skirt and a white top. Every year I would go as a pirate, or I went as Jack from Jack and Coke, and my friend was Coke. One year, all I did was I wore that same outfit. I grabbed a spatula and said I was the hash slinging slasher.
Yeah, so that's the thing is, like, I was gonna say in college, I feel like that was when I put the least effort into costumes, because I would just be like, oh shit, it's Halloween and we're going out, like, let me just wear a black dress and, like, mouse ear. Like, literally, like, Mean Girl. But, like, I would literally, like, just put on something that was like, this is kind of this. Or I'm like, I'm a tourist because I'm wearing a Hawaiian shirt with no pants. Like, nothing, you know?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, I came from a family where we just, like, bought the Halloween costumes. Mm-hmm. We weren't, like, super creative and DIY with it, but I would
probably
say...
why you're not as traumatized.
Well, but it also, it's like today when people are like, if I'm talking about a costume, they're like, oh, you can just go and buy this and this and this, and I'm like, you know, I'm probably just gonna buy the costume off Amazon or go to Spirit Halloween, which is more expensive, but I'm like, I'm just not... I don't have the energy to put into that, you know? Yeah. I'm just gonna buy the costume.
I have fun with the DIY part, though. Like,
yeah.
Like, that part is fun for me, so... Long story short, I'm gonna traumatize my kids, because I'm gonna make them do DIYs that I make.
It's not fun for me because I'm not great at it. I'd rather just buy it. But that's why I always think that kind of maybe comes from, like... That's why I ask, because I'm like, maybe it comes from, like, how we were raised or something.
Yeah. Do we want to go into our little game?
Yes! Yeah!
Okay, so these are descriptions of a movie, and you have to tell me if it's a rom-com or a scary movie. Like, you have to tell me in what it is. So like, this is from the website Jezebel.
You might want to move your phone a little because I can see it from where I am.
Okay. You're like, I can read every single word.
Be honest.
And I do have my phone on large.
I was wondering how
text.
this game was going to work.
Yeah, I was curious what the game was.
Okay. The year is 2007. A woman's Filofax is stolen by a deranged man who won't stop showing up everywhere she goes to preach to her that love is fake. One night, she finds herself trapped with him in the midst of a terrifying storm. Will she make it through the night? And if so, how will she live through its aftermath?
Oh my god.
I'm gonna go rom-com.
I'm gonna go rom-com.
Yes, it's 27 Dresses.
What?
Yeah.
I don't watch rom-coms, so I'm proud of myself.
So I've seen 27 Dresses, but I don't remember that. But I don't like rom-coms either.
Okay. A quirky family of 4 starts working for a rich family up the street. As a cute little bit, they pretend not to know each other. The son from the poor family strikes up a romance with the daughter of the rich family. It all comes to a head at a chaotic birthday bash on a notable
horror. And it's Parasite.
Yes. Good
job. That one got really good ratings.
Parasite. It's so good. Sorry.
Okay. A woman meets the man of her dreams who just happens to have really long fingers. These days, it's hard for the woman to distinguish dreams from her reality.
Oh, that kind of sounds familiar, actually.
Horror? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to say horror, too.
Yes, it is Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh. Also, Molly and I, as soon as Alexa said long fingers, she and I gave each other the most, like, what?
Long fingers?
I've actually never seen Midnight on Elm Street.
None of that was correct.
Excuse me?
That movie. Nightmare on Elm Street.
Do you like those movies? Because I've seen both. Like, I've seen the original and the remake.
The thing is, I don't find
Freddy Krueger.
Anything pre-2000 horror to be really all that scary, and I think it's just because, like...
That's what we were saying kind of earlier.
Yeah, like whenever my parents would be like, this was the scariest movie, like when we watched Jaws and stuff, and I'm just like, oh, but also, like, well, you know.
Jaws is scary.
My mom literally said that today when I was telling her that we were going to do the podcast about Cujo.
Yeah. Megan thinks Cujo's the scariest movie in existence, and I watch it and I'm just like, it's fine.
Well, she showed me the trailer, and I was like, that's a Saint Bernard. Like, that's just...
It's just a dog. I mean, it's a dog that has rabies.
Well, I know, but I was thinking, like, make it look like a. I'm also like,
Yeah.
I got a soft spot for animals, so I'm like, it looks like a Saint
And it's
Bernard.
kind
Like,
of
make it look like
upsetting,
a
too.
hyena. Like, make it look like a hyena.
It's upsetting too because you're just like, oh, like it was a nice dog at first.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, really quick though. I was gonna say I have that same thing with Poltergeist. Matthew thinks Poltergeist is the scariest movie ever because he watched it as a kid, and when he tried to show it to me, I was just like, it's fine. Like it's not that scary. So I don't know. Continue.
A man from a mysterious foreign land won't stop showing up to every funeral and wedding a young American woman attends. Coincidence or waking nightmare? Will the next funeral be hers?
I'm gonna almost say rom-com.
I was gonna say rom-com just because that's kind of fucked up, but I feel like somebody would make it into a rom-com.
It almost sounds like a comedy, yeah. Wedding Crashers or something.
It is 4 weddings and a funeral.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
I love it when the stalker turns into a rom-com.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's great.
Okay, two executives discover their lives are actually an elaborate cursed puppet show orchestrated by their assistants. They're left with no sense of what's real or what's fake.
This is not the Truman Show.
Yeah, wait, can you read it again?
Two executives discover their lives are actually an elaborate cursed puppet show orchestrated by their assistants. They're left with no sense of what's real and what's fake.
Okay, maybe puppet show I'm taking too literally.
I'm gonna go horror.
I'm gonna say horror too.
No, it's a rom-com that's actually really cute. It's called Set It Up on Netflix.
What?
That has Glenn Powell in it.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
Wait, Glenn
Powell.
from Twisters? Is that him?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
I love
No,
it.
I've never heard of it.
A woman dumps her condescending boyfriend, lights his shit on... Okay, the webpage crashed.
Oh.
So that's the game.
Oh, I want you to read the rest.
Hang on. I gotta scroll. Hang on. There's so many. Okay. A woman dumps her condescending boyfriend, lights his...
It's like right... It was literally in front of my face.
That's not from the photo. Anyways, a woman dumps her condescending boyfriend, lights his shit on fire, and finds a welcoming, quirky new community in a foreign land.
It's Midsummer.
Yeah. Wow. That was crazy. Okay. A woman marries into a wealthy family that likes to play board games, and oh boy, is she in for a surprise.
Horror.
Yes. Do you know what it is?
No, likes to play board games?
Hold on.
A family that likes to play board games.
Oh, I
On their
know
wedding
exactly.
night.
I know what it is. I can't think of the name though. I know exactly what it is.
On their wedding night. Hold on.
No. Oh, fuck. What's it called? I can picture the image of the movie in my head. I just cannot remember the name.
Oh, sorry, you're waiting for the name.
Yeah.
Ready or Not.
Yes,
That's
Ready
what
or
it is.
Not.
Oh, I've never
my god,
seen
that's
that.
what it was.
I've
yes.
heard of it. I've just never seen it. Can't believe we're gonna do the wedding or the website crashed when it was Midsummer.
No, it wasn't Midsummer.
Huh?
That was the rom-com with Glenn
sorry.
Powell.
Oh, you're right.
You can
sorry.
only think about it. Okay, an artist and his girlfriend move into a neighborhood with a storied past and
And
go away?
I have a stroke. And enmesh themselves in its culture. In this artsy space, summoning a man is as simple as saying his name 5 times in front of a mirror.
Horror.
How sweet and
Oh, I'm
convenient.
sorry.
That's it.
Horror.
Yeah? This is the last one, so.
5 times. Saying his name 5 times.
Is
Yeah.
it like
Not
the love child of
Candyman.
Yeah.
Bloody Mary and Beetlejuice?
It's Candyman.
Oh, of course.
So anyways, that's my game.
fun. I didn't get to talk about my comfort horror movies.
Oh my god, I'm sorry.
It's okay. It just reminded me when we talked about
We've been really bouncing around.
yeah. Well,
I would love to talk about a comfort horror movie.
so
Yeah.
I have a lot,
Okay.
but I would say, so I love Midsummer.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have watched Midsummer way more times than is.
You killed the costume.
Thank you so much.
Killed it.
I really love it. I love Midsummer. I also love and we literally just watched this again recently, but Matthew and I watched Blair Witch Project
Interesting.
so
That's
much.
a good one.
It's like legit like a comfort movie for me because like it's scary, but it's not like it's also just kind of interesting. The tension from it, all they do is yell at each other the whole movie,
Yeah.
and it's so tense and like crazy. Also the original Carrie,
Oh yeah. Okay.
I watched that one a lot.
Sissy Spacek.
So iconic. Oh, and then there's one that's called The Last Exorcism. It's a
Oh,
found
yeah.
footage movie, And Matthew and I watch it a lot. It was on TV in the
movie.
office the other day, and it just hits. It just hits.
That's great.
There's just certain movies, like if we're at a lake house, we just like turn it on. It's just like a good like.
And what I find interesting about horror films, so I was doing like a lot of research today, is I feel like horror films really play on like society's like things that they are afraid of at the time.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting because I was thinking about when you said Paranormal Activity earlier, about what a cultural touchstone that was when I was in high school.
I know. And the thing is, that wasn't the first like found footage. Like Blair Witch Project was probably the first, but like that kind of like restarted it, I guess. But have you noticed like they don't really do found footage movies anymore? Like,
and I'm kind of fine with that. It makes me like kind of sick.
Many.
Yeah, it makes some people really dizzy. Like it doesn't personally, it doesn't bother me.
No,
but
I'm a little bitch, so it does. But I also remember with Paranormal Activity, like it came out when I was in high school. We had a track party at my house where my dad had like set up a projector, and then my sister basically fucked our computer because she illegally downloaded it to stream it. So we're all watching it, and I would say about halfway through the movie, the computer just breaks, the thing stops. We've got about 60 people in our driveway watching half of Paranormal Activity. But I just think about, like, everyone was like, we have to watch it.
Yeah.
We have to see it.
Yeah, it was a phenomenon when it came out.
And it was scary. Like,
it's scary. Matthew and I, that's another probably comfort horror movie that we watch, is all of those, because like I like the second one, I like the third one. Like the third one is so scary.
Yeah.
Love those. But there's certain ones like exorcism movies I'm just getting kind of tired of. I feel like we're done with those. We don't need any more exorcism movies.
I will say, so the things that really freak me out are possession movies. Mm-hmm. And I'm not like religious, but I do have sleep paralysis often. And I remember the first time I had sleep paralysis, is the scariest thing. I was in my high school bed, and I just like woke up, your eyes are open, you cannot move your body at all. It is actually like I've had it like multiple times throughout my life. It's one of the most terrifying things. I remember the first thing I thought of was like, oh my God, this is what happened on the exorcism of Emily Rose. And I literally like started praying. I was like, God, I know I don't pray, but please, dear God, please don't let me be possessed. And then
that's
to this day, there's still a demon inside me.
So you're fine with being haunted, but you don't want to be possessed? I guess there's a difference.
Because demons feel more chaotic. And whenever you see like possession movies and they're like their body is contorting or whatever, I just want to be like, ooh,
I can't
let's
bend
do
like
a
that.
seance. Yeah.
Well, you can if they
don't possess me. I can't bend like that.
I think a demon would
go into your fingers. They'll do all kinds of things.
A demon would get into my body. They would be like, this woman cannot touch her toes without like ruining her whole body. And they would immediately be like, I need a new vessel. Yeah.
I need a flexible human being.
Is as stiff as a board.
So you and I are safe.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
That's another one where I feel like it's just, to me, a lot of those are just cheap jump scares where it's just loud, obnoxious. By the end of it, you're just like ready for it to be over. That's how I feel about most like exorcism movies. Yeah. I feel like.
So I do want to get into like what I think is in recent times the best horror movie I've seen recently, which we gave Kelly homework to watch, and it was Barbarian.
So I did watch it.
Okay.
If you say you hated it, it's fine, but I will cry.
No, I watched it by myself, which I wouldn't like really recommend.
Yeah.
I have literally my entire section of notes on it. So first of all, I would just like to say that right in the beginning of the movie, that scene with when they're trying to put the duvet cover on.
Yeah. Also, we should say spoilers if you haven't seen Barbarian, but just if you like horror movies, go watch it.
And just for like, wait, really quick, just for context, it's about the movie starts out because it's basically like a 3-part act movie. Like, it's kind of wild.
Yeah, that weird.
It's almost like 2 separate movies.
Yeah, that confused me a bit.
I think the first half was definitely better. But it's about a woman goes to this Airbnb. She finds out that a man is already staying there because their Airbnb's got messed up, and it's Bill Skarsgård. And he is staying there, so he's like, you know what, don't go, like, this area is like kind of unsafe, like you should just stay here for the night or whatever. And they find out that like the basement is like there's some freaky stuff going on down there. So,
it is some Law and Order SVU shit that's going down out there.
Yeah. So anyway.
Okay. So yes.
I do have to find my phone because that scene when they're trying to put the duvet cover on there.
Oh yeah.
So recently I bought a new duvet cover. McCall, my boyfriend, did not know what a duvet was versus
Chris
a comforter.
Didn't either. I don't think he still does. We've had it for 2 years.
So I did the exact thing that he did. I'm standing under the covers, and I am like holding the ends, and I'm like, give me the corners of the duvet. And he is laughing his ass off. He doesn't understand the concept, first of all, but he is laughing his ass off, and he has a video where I am like standing there trapped under this thing, and I'm like, hey, can you help me? And he's just dying laughing, going, ooh, ghosty. Oh, but I saw that and I was like, I was right. That is actually a method that people use.
When that movie came out, I actually remember because they were promoting it on TikTok, and there was a TikTok video where she was like, the voice was like, Bill Skarsgård teaches you how to fold a duvet, like, and I just remember that, like, them showing that clip from the movie.
I have to say, the night that I watched Barbarian was one of the best nights of my life, because I had an extremely stressful day. I was going to meet Chris at the brewery, literally, like, tears in my eyes. He was like, just go home, just relax. I got a pint of ice cream from Cold Stone and a sub from Jersey Mike's. I'll be honest, I ate a little edible, and I sat there with my cat, because Poe wasn't here at the time. And that movie was scary.
The fact that you ate an edible before watching that is so freaky to me.
I literally, like, at one point,
I
literally, like, I don't, like, jump or gasp really at scary movies often, but at one point I was like, and my cat, like, jumped off the bed, and, like, I was just like, oh my god, like, I had to pause it at certain points. I was like, I am genuinely, like, creeped out. So, when she pulls, there's something about when she pulls that the rope from the wall where I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. Well, no, but when she finally goes in there and then, like, she's like Bill Skarsgård comes, like, crawling up. Yeah. That part scared me. And then after that, like, when he gets, like, he's like, somebody's down here. And then, like, the woman, it's so freaky.
It is one of the best, like, scary movies I've seen in a long time, because it does, I will say, like, it takes a lot to scare me, and a lot of them I think are, like, cookie cutter. Like, when we saw Longlegs, I think it had a really good, like, bones, but then the ending, I was just like, I'm not about it.
Whatever, but I thought Longlegs, actually, I was gonna bring that up earlier. Did you end up seeing Longlegs?
No, I didn't.
It is so, the beginning was scary. The beginning was, like, the scariest part when, like, they first show him, because he, like, they just show, it's just, like, the way that they film it, the way that it's filmed is also really good, but, like, they show him, and it's just like, oh my god. And then he, like, he has the creepiest voice. It's Nicolas Cage. He has, like, the scariest voice. And then finally, he's like, I seem to have forgotten my long legs today. Or he's like, I have my long legs on, or whatever he says. And he, like, bends down, and he's like, what if I just... And he, like, bends down, and then, like, the scene, like, cuts to the credits, and it is so scary. Like, I literally gasped when we saw it in the movies. Like, I was so scared. I think there's a lot. I think horror has really taken it's definitely evolving, because, like, it was, you know, there's great horror movies from the past, but then it kind of got to a point where it felt like it was just a lot of exorcism movies, just kind of cheap jump scares. And then I would say in the last, like, 5 years, it's really had its, like, art. Yeah. Well, yeah, just like it's just, like, very much evolved into, like, artistic horror movies.
But yeah, so back to Barbarian, what were your, like, notes and thoughts? And also, yes, Molly, I agree. No.
Like, my bad, I thought we were done.
No, I agree, and I want to come back to that. But
so, I wouldn't say it was the scariest movie I've ever seen.
Yeah.
However, I personally thought it was, like, a little more disturbing than it was, like, scary, which I guess in its same sense is, like, scary. Part of it, for me, like, it kind of trips me up when, like, some modern things are in horror movies. Like, you can clearly see it's an iPhone. Like, she's talking about an Airbnb.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
For some reason, like, I find that a little weird. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I was really confused when it jumped to that middle part, because the trailer really only shows her and the guy interacting.
So once again, I was confused. Imagine having eaten an edible, you're watching this horror movie, and again, there's, like, again, it splits into a different movie, and then it's suddenly Justin Long on the highway singing. And I literally texted Molly and Megan. I was like, am I still watching the same movie?
Oh, I thought,
like,
the same thing.
I had a moment, I was like, did I click, like, the clicker or whatever? And I was like, what's going on?
My mom and I saw it in the movies, and we were just like, wait, what? Like, because he's just driving to California. Yeah. Like, it's, like, all of a sudden, like, a bright and sunny movie. It's, like, I would say, I loved the first half of the movie, and I thought it was creative. Like, I thought it was interesting with Justin Long's character, but I also kind of was like, by the end of it, I was like, all right, let's wrap it up. Like,
it had, like, the whole storyline of it was a twist that I was not expecting. Like, obviously, spoilers, when they go down and they see that room with the camera, like, that's pretty, I mean,
dark.
I watch a lot
It's
of Law and Order SVU.
Yeah.
You know what's going on down there. I think one of the creepiest parts for me was like when it like flashes back to the original guy and he goes into that woman's house like dressed as a worker and unlocks the window and then like leaves, like just being like a woman. Like that part to me was just more like,
yeah.
You know what's really scary
like,
is when
I don't like that.
Because you don't know, so they're in a really awful part. The Airbnb is like in a really shitty area, like run down. But you don't know because she shows up at night, so she can't see anything. But then the next day she comes out of the Airbnb because she's there for like a job interview. She goes to the interview and she's like looking around. She's like, oh my God, like it's like a really dangerous part of town. And so when she comes back to the house, she realizes, like, she's going up to the front door, and this man is, like, running down the street.
Yeah, it's like this homeless guy.
Homeless man. He's like, hey, he's like, don't, and you later find out he's trying to warn her, he's trying to stop her from going in the house.
Yeah, I thought about that later on. I was like, he was really trying to help her.
Yeah, but it's so scary at first, because you're like, the thought of her, like, just being, she can't get into the house 100%. At first, and he's, like, running, she makes it inside the house, like, right as he comes up, but it's so scary.
To me, the scary parts was they're in these dark tunnels for so long, and all you can see is like by the phone of her flashlight. And the thing is, you know it's going to be a jump scare, but that's what I like is sometimes they trick you. Sometimes it wasn't a jump scare, and sometimes it was, or sometimes it would take a really long time to get to it. And the whole time I was like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Like, that would be terrifying.
Why are you being dumb and going down there by yourself? Like, I just wouldn't do that.
Exactly.
I'm not meant to
be
there.
Yes,
that's
but
true.
I like when the quote-unquote barbarian first appears, I was not expecting her girls to be girlin', and that is all I could see when she first popped out was like her boobs, and I was like, oh, this is not this is not what I expected it to be. That part was weird.
I think like her her as the monster, I didn't like the like design of her in terms of like she just looked very fake, you know, and so I wish they had done that better. And, like, it did make it almost, like, comical in a sense, where it's just, like, her tiggle bitties are just, like,
biddying
them. Yeah. And so but...
It is gross.
Well, my thing is, too, I don't really feel that bad for the guy who she made her drink that, because he is such a bitch boy. Yeah. Trigger warning, he definitely raped her. B, that part at the end where he, like, throws her off the roof, and then he's like, I didn't let go. You just slipped. It was your fault. And I was like, you fucking bitch boy. Yeah. Like, really? Like, that kind of stuff just infuriates me. But that was definitely a plot twist at the end when you figured out, like, why the monster was was because of all the inbreeding that this man did. Which, I have a couple questions. How is he still alive? B, why is he still alive? C, why is said... like barbarian creation obsessed with the baby thing?
I think they did something where they explained that in there, and I think it was because
did I miss it?
It was like, I think it was something where it was like she had always, like, there were babies around or whatever.
Yeah, because he would kidnap a lot of women. Well,
he would kidnap women, and then he would make babies, and then he would make babies with the babies, so it was just a whole inbred situation.
She probably just, like, wanted to take care of a baby, I think. Like, she just was... Well, she's clearly just, like, like, she wasn't human.
Like, I don't know if this is just me, but, like, towards the end, I was like, well... it's not her fault.
No.
Like,
and I think like, I kind of started to is my favorite kind.
I kind of started to feel like sympathetic towards her because I was like, well, it's not really her fault. It's this piece of shit's fault that's rotting in this bed. Which, how and why is he still alive?
Probably from the titty milk.
First of all, but like, why would why is he still alive? Like
I think like
why?
I think it was like, you know. I think she was feeding him from her breast milk, and that was because it had kept what's-her-face alive in that hole for, like, weeks, you know?
That's true.
So I think that's why, and I think that's why he was, like, decrepit, though, because you can't really survive that long off of breast milk as a human adult. But that movie, and so to go back to what you were saying, Molly, about, like, horror films being art, or I just like it when, like, I think that's why Parasite was such a big deal, because, A, it was, like, very well done, and B, it was unique. It wasn't this typical, like,
Was that really a horror movie, though? I didn't really think of Parasite as a horror movie.
I think a lot of people classify it as horror. I think it's like a psychological thriller.
Yeah.
Because there were parts, like, when they go, like, down into that basement and stuff, where I was like, oh.
Or when that ghost comes up, there's, like, a scene where the kid, like, imagines a ghost or something.
I definitely think part of, like, the whole transition of horror is, before it was, like, monsters, you know? It's, like, Frankenstein. It's, you're possessed. It's not your fault. And as it's kind of progressed, I feel like it's more showing what humans can do.
Yeah.
And it's, like...
I think the horror is us.
Humans can be the monsters. It's not some made-up monster.
Right.
Which is one of the things I've noticed. Which
is interesting because I feel like, you know, for a long time, you know, horror has been around since the beginning of time. Mm-hmm. Obviously not movies, but, you know. And I think, like, it helped us to process things that we didn't understand in the world, you know? Like, we would be like, wow, that woman's a bitch, so she's a witch. Or whatever, or they would just be like... Don't even get me
started on the Salem Witch Trials. Don't even get me started.
Don't even get me started.
Don't even get me started on the Salem Witch Trials.
I would definitely be burned at the stake.
We can definitely do a whole podcast, or we can definitely do a whole, like, Diet Pop episode on the Salem Witch.
Yeah. Okay, bring me back for that, because I have words.
But I think what's interesting is as it's progressed, like, we still have, like, monster horror, yes, but I think, like, society has progressed to where we are reflective on ourselves, and then that thus is reflected in our horror.
And also, so the thing about horror that's interesting, it's kind of like why it gets compared to, like, comedy a lot, or why there's, like, horror comedy, is because, like, horror is that thing that can, like, really draw a reaction out of audiences.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so that's something, too, is, like, you go to the movies to, like, just kind of escape and just, like, sort of have, it's the same reason that you go see a comedy, is just to laugh. Or with a horror movie, there's something funny about, like, everybody getting scared at the same time and, like, gasping and being, you know... being scared and surprised.
Well, I think there's something, like, with horror and comedy, I think is interesting because, you know how, like, something really uncomfortable will happen or something really scary and you can't help but, like, almost, like, smile or, like, you're just like,
it's the uncomfortable laugh,
And,
bless you.
Me. Thank you. What I thought was interesting, like, What I thought was interesting was Psychology Today. They said there were 3 different types of horror consumers. So there's adrenaline junkies, white knucklers, and dark copers. And so adrenaline junkies are obviously, like, you know, they just, like, get like an adrenaline high. Yeah. And white knucklers, they do, like, it says the opposite, where they kind of, like, grit their teeth through it, but they have to, like, prove to themselves that they're enjoying it. And then dark copers are where they watch horror to kind of, like, deal with emotional regulation skills, etc. And so I think that's interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, because I watch things, like, if I'm watching a horror movie, I'm literally, like, if you've ever seen me watching a horror movie, I'm literally like this.
What do you think you are?
I think I'm, like, 90% the adrenaline.
Yeah.
And, like, 10% the coper.
I think I'm the coper. I love seeing horror and being like, let's dissect this.
Yeah, I love the jump scares. Like, that's my thing, is I love, like, the adrenaline of, like, the, ooh.
Yeah, I think that's all correct for all 3 of us.
I jump, and then I, like, laugh about it, because I'm like, oh, like, haha, that was kind of funny. Or, like, whoever's sitting next to me, like, laughs at me because I jump or something. Like, I love scary stuff, but I startle very easily.
Yeah.
So, to me, that's just, like, funny.
Yeah.
I think all 3 of us have those, like, I think, like, that's a good, like, analysis for all 3 of us.
Balance.
Yeah. But I think it's interesting because, again, like, horror we use to understand the world around us. And I think, like, going back to, you know, you talked about, like, Scooby-Doo and, like, the, like, Sweet Life of Zack and Cody episode, like, we have children's horror. And it used to be, like, the Grimm fairy tales or whatever. But, like, also, like, as a kid, I'd be like, yeah, show me something scary. Like, I want to see some horror.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because we produce these horror things for kids. And I think, like, part of it is to help us, like, understand and learn about the society around us. Mm-hmm. Like, even when, you know, Phantom of the Megaplex or Don't Look Under the Bed, Halloween Town, which I don't think is horror, but more just, like, Halloween coded.
Yeah.
But, like, or did you guys see that thing where it's, like, the girl with the ribbon around her neck and it's, like, her head falls off?
No.
Like what? Like, what is it a movie?
No, it's a child, like, poem that people are like, oh my god, I can't believe I read this, where it's, like, the whole time she, like, falls in love, she gets married, and she's, like, she always wears this ribbon around her neck.
Oh, I've heard of this.
And then the husband, like, pulls the ribbon off while she's sleeping, and her head falls off. It was, like, hugely popular. But I think it's like, because I think it like helps people or helps kids like process the world around them as well in like kind of a weird fucked up way, but also like, I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't know what I'm saying.
No, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if, well, I'll put it this way, like, I don't know if when people are making horror movies or scary movies for kids, like the one, you know, Don't Look Under the Bed, I don't know if they have that in mind. I don't know if that's like why they're making it, but it is a good analysis.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because even as a kid I was like, scare me.
Yeah,
like
that's interesting.
Put some horror in front of me.
That makes me think a little bit that you were like partially the adrenaline part though.
Yeah, I think so, because again, I just don't enjoy the monotony of daily life, and the best way to like fight that is murder and haunting.
So speaking of murder,
cannibalism,
of course.
Sorry.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Decapitation.
So speaking of murder, I know we were all talking about this earlier. The question of the week was, how would you die if it was a horror, like if you were in a horror movie? So I am going to bring the follow-up is, how do we all think that we would die in a horror movie? And I have also since asked my boyfriend and my mother, and I would also like to read those answers because I think they're quite funny.
Okay.
Mostly my mother.
Oh, like they answered about you, or they answered their own?
No, I asked them, I'm like, how do you think I would die?
What did they say? Or do you want us to tell us what you think first? What we think?
Can go. Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm going to, and I mean this in the nicest way, I think you would die first, Kelly.
Okay.
Because A, you're like very hot, so usually the hot girl dies first, and B, like, you are very, like, overconfident in situations, so, like, if people are scared, you would be like, honey, I've got you. I'm gonna go outside and look, and then you'd die.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No, that tracks.
Or you just be like, it's nothing, I've got you, I'll prove it.
And then her arms
I do.
And then we just see, like, a splat of Kelly against the window.
God. You know what that reminded me of?
Wrong.
Have you guys ever seen the movie You're Next? It's a horror movie.
I feel like I have, but I don't remember
it's kind of a fever dream because I've only seen it once. It was a very good movie. It was like these people, it's kind of a horror comedy, but these people basically stalk this, I think it was a family. They're wearing masks. They're wearing like scary like cat masks, and it's like, it's really creepy. But okay,
okay, yes, I do know exactly what.
Yeah, it was like
pretty,
it was actually kind of scary because I'm afraid of masks. That's like my big thing. So anyway.
Oh yeah.
There's a scene where the girl, this is what reminded me of you, Kelly, though, like this would be you, is in this situation, is there's like a scene where a girl is like, she's so confident, there's like music playing, like it's like really inspirational music, because she's like, guys, like we just have to run, because she's like I think she's a runner, so she's like, we just have to like run, like we just need to run out the house, and like so she's getting ready to go, and like she's literally running. They put up like a line, like the people stalking the house or whatever, like put up this thin line that you can't see, so it was like a trap, and she like slices her neck open, but it was just like, she was so confident, she was running, and she just immediately gets like, so taken out.
That tracks.
I'm not saying that would be you, but that reminded me of that, because she was really confident, and she just
That's
immediately,
not you, but it reminded me of you.
No, it immediately she got taken out. So like, you're right, the confident person.
Yeah. Do you want to do your loved ones?
So,
weird phrasing.
McCall said that there would be some kind of aspect. So I find it very ironic because I have crippling arachnophobia, which
that is what.
Yeah, I just killed a spider for her earlier.
Yeah, and I was like it was quite literally less than the size of my pinky nail, and I was like, hey, Molly, can you kill it,
Besides
please?
the ranch bottle, that was the second thing I ever learned about you.
Yeah, no, I like crippling arachnophobia, terrified of spiders. I don't even like to say that word because I've like desensitized myself to the word like arachnid. Like I use that word. But McCall was like, there would be something related with like spiders that you would have to run through or you would have to do, and you just straight up wouldn't do it, and then they would catch up to you and kill you.
I could see that, okay.
My mother's answer, and this is a direct quote from her, she said, the way I would die in a horror movie, if there was a barn full of animals and it was on fire, that I would jump head first and belly flop onto a pitchfork that was also on fire to save said animals, but I would also be doing a shot of Fireball Cinnamon Whiskey while I go down, because if I'm going to go down, I'm going to have fun.
She's definitely your mom.
No, that is my mother.
Detailed.
But when I tell you that is a direct quote, that is a direct quote from my mother when I asked her at 1 p.m. this afternoon.
Yeah, we can't forget
I just
the Fireball.
love the idea of just having a shot of Fireball whiskey on you, like in the impromptu.
I would have
fireball.
needed. I would have needed like 2 more to even jump on the pitchfork beforehand.
Yeah.
But so one is like your worst fear and you can't get past it, and then the other one's like you're gonna save a bunch of animals and that's how you're gonna die. Aww. So I guess that's like balance.
Yeah.
I don't know what that
love
means.
that for you.
I don't know what that means, but I thought my mom's version was really, really funny.
That was good, yeah.
I thought that was hilarious.
Here's how I think Molly would die. I think you would be, you know, like that person, like if it's a group horror film, there's that person who's always like, I'm not doing this, and then like decides like to separate, like they're like, I'm not gonna.
I would not separate.
Or not separate, but you would be like, like I'm not, like you would be like, I'm hiding in this closet or whatever. I think that would, then you would get murdered there. You know what I mean?
So the only like inaccurate part of that is like I hate when people separate, like when in groups, like when they separate. I would not. I'd be with the group. So if I'm dying, then all of you guys are dying.
Okay,
too.
so I'm gonna say this in a way, and I don't mean it like offensively, but where it's like I'm getting axed, you know, like we're together, it's just me and you. I'm getting an axe in the back, and you're like, oh shit, and then you're gonna just like run away, and then like there'll be like a second person, they're gonna axe you. You know what I mean? Like the person who like runs away. That gets axed.
I was not along a similar line, but like you would be with somebody and the other person would be trying to protect you.
Oh yeah.
So they would get murdered first, and then you would have no one left. So there's no one left to murder but you, respectfully.
Yeah.
But like
no one left to murder but you. I like that.
Okay.
I feel like you could be the last survivor though because of that. Like
the final girl.
You
actually,
are the
yeah,
final
I could
girl.
see you final girl coded.
You're the final girl.
And just like,
she's like, oh my god.
Yeah. How do we think I would die? Not everyone else.
I think you would be in denial about the freaky shit that was happening. And you'd be like, oh, like, I slept walk in my sleep. That's why I have these mysterious scratches all down my arm.
Okay.
Or you would be too excited for it that you would use a Ouija board and then you would summon some fuck shit. And then it would, like, kill you.
Okay.
You would, like, summon, like, an actual demon from hell rather than, like, a nice ghosty.
Yeah.
And then it would kill you.
Yeah, I could see that for me.
Yeah, you do have the main character energy, so I think you would, like...
Oh my god, thank you! That is the nicest thing anyone's ever said.
Well, okay,
besides, so like, we have final girl, we have main character. What is the first bitch that dies?
It's kind of a compliment. Or blonde. I would say blonde.
Yeah.
It makes me sound stupid, which is not incorrect.
I'm blonde.
However.
So I'm not. Though, I was gonna say
for the listeners.
2 blondes and a brune.
Yeah.
That's our group chat name, actually.
What were you gonna say? Sorry, Molly.
I was gonna say it wasn't like totally a compliment.
That's fine.
It's just that I feel like you're the type that would keep going. Like the way that you said, like I'd be like I'm out, like I'm gone. You'd be like I gotta like really uncover this, like
yes,
which is a compliment I think for you. I just like
the perfect.
I think you're too smart for your own good, is what I'm saying.
God, thank you. I think the perfect example is when we were which, like, spoiler, but we were taking photos for this podcast, and we found this movie theater, and the doors were just, like, it was like an old movie theater, the doors were just, like, open, unlocked, and I literally just walked in, I was like, hello? Anyone there? Hello? Molly, like, put a toe in, and then she was like, guys, I don't think we should be here. And then...
We were breaking and entering.
Yes, but I'm like, that's the perfect example of, like, what I'm talking about, where you'd be like, I'm not going in there, I'm not doing that.
I did.
You would die outside, I would die inside of overconfidence.
I'm just going to tell the story.
That's a fair assessment.
This part is true, because we at one point, it was actually my fault, I spilled popcorn all over the floor, and there's a sign where it's like, don't bring food or drink in here. And again, we had like snuck into this theater to take pictures, and I literally dropped the popcorn, and then as soon as we took the pictures, I literally ran out and didn't help them clean it up, because I was just like, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's a good description of both of us.
Phantom of the Megaplex.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's how we would all die.
Basically, I'm a shitty friend, and that's what we've uncovered in this episode.
No, I don't think you're a shitty friend. I think you just have a sense of self-preservation.
Thank you.
I don't.
And I just can't see a wire. Which
that
actually tracks, though.
Guys, watch that movie. It is so gross.
I have horrible eyesight. That actually tracks, though.
Actually, thinking about it is really upsetting me.
I think you just have, like, you're very confident, and you're protective of people, which gets you killed first. I'll be honest.
That is fair. That does track with what Leanne said.
And, like, I appreciate that in my life.
But really, the girl power...
Yeah.
Hold my hands. The girl power would
wait.
keep us all alive.
Why
the
did
three
I
of
hold
us,
hands like this?
The three of us. Kelly's got it. This is
Yeah.
Kelly's strong
Yeah.
hands. Like that's how I know she would.
That's a grip
She
on
would,
that girl.
Really, she would pick me and Alexa up and just
Yeah.
run.
Oh, I would.
Like
Fireman,
Polly
both
Pockets
shoulders.
underneath her.
Also, that video I was telling you about earlier about the ghosty with the duvet. McCall just sent me that video. So
Oh, that's funny.
cute. Is he gonna listen to this podcast?
He better.
I hope not, because he's gonna get the ick when he hears my voice. But
Oh, that's not true.
He hears your voice every day. Also, it sounds exactly like Molly's, so she should really be offended.
Yeah, you won't know whose it is.
Yeah.
no,
but-
he just said have fun with your friends.
Aww, he's so nice.
He's such a nice boy. I want him to come on and talk about rom-coms with
I was
us.
gonna
Oh,
say
he
he
totally
could come on.
should.
What's the movie you guys both liked where it was like
About
listening
Time?
To, yeah,
About
About Time. I
Time.
was like,
So-
oh, he likes this
my
movie.
favorite. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I cry every
never
single
seen
time.
Out of context, he and I first started talking. So he's from Maine. He was at home for like 2 weeks when we first started talking, and so he was like, oh, like some long distance movie dates and stuff. So he was like
Aw.
suggesting rom-coms and stuff, and I was like, okay, sure. He suggested About Me, and I sobbed, and I
About
remember,
time.
yeah, that
Oh,
one.
like the way Alexa corrected. I was
Thank
like,
you.
don't,
Yeah,
I was
no.
like, don't correct her,
It
don't
is-
correct her.
It
don't
is
Yeah,
correct
a
About
perfect
Time.
It's a perfect
no,
film.
I was sobbing, and I texted him, and I was like, why would you do that? Why would you do that?
But
I'm
it's
so
like
sad."
happy tears too. It's like it's like a bittersweet tear. Like, which part did you sob at?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, I was just crying, and I was like, why would you?
I think
like
I
the
mentioned
actor
multiple
in it,
times.
so I feel like I should watch it.
I think you would like it because it's not a rom-com, like a cheesy, like whatever. It's not even a rom-com. I don't even
Well,
know what I would describe it as.
It's not, but like,
It's a romance.
it's a
It is,
romance,
but
and like
that's not
nobody
even-
dies in a horrific way, so it's not my type of movie. You know what
It's
I
a
mean?
romance,
Like, I
yes.
feel like I only like movies when people die in
Did
horrific
anyone
ways.
get her throat cut while running? Like,
Yeah,
out of the
exactly.
house?
Like,
No,
if
not interested.
if she's not getting her throat slashed by a wire, I don't want to see it.
It's a romance, but it's really about like the connection between people. And like between like you and your family, between you and your friends, between you and a significant other. Like it is.
Ugh,
You
I don't.
know what else is a connection between?
I just don't want to
people?
cry.
What? Silence of the Lambs.
That is true. Yes, and I'm curious. So, what is the worst horror movie you've ever seen? Someone put that on here.
Oh, that was
I
me.
did. Okay, I was like,
Because I know exactly the one.
go.
Okay.
So, one recently came out. It was called Immaculate
Oh, is that
with Sydney Sweeney.
It got good reviews, I thought.
I heard mixed things about it.
So, McCall is not typically one for horror movies, right?
Yeah.
So, I was like, oh, you know, I love horror movies. Like, this new one came out. Like, let's watch it, right?
Yeah.
We watched it. It was god-awful and just fucking weird. Like, literal spoilers. The last scene of it is literally... The whole concept is Sydney Sweeney plays this character, goes to, like, this covenant. She basically gets immaculate conception situation. But it ends up being this, like, devil baby. And literally at the end of it, she has this baby and then proceeds to lay it down, realizes it's the devil, and, like, fucking kills it with a rock. And it was just, like, he and I were watching it both, like, that's weird. Like, it was very disturbing in, like, a non-good way.
So I'm curious because I put this on there too, but like, is there things in horror movies where you kind of draw a line? And I'm curious because
Oh, yeah.
friend of the pod, like Liz Hornsby, especially, she said ever since she has children, she can't like watch like where it's like horrible things happening to children. And I'm curious, like, is that your line? Like, you don't, what's the line you draw?
My first line, honestly, is animal cruelty.
Yes. Okay. That's mine too.
Like, even if I listen to a podcast and, because I like the true crime stuff, like, a lot of, like, the predisposing behaviors of, like, psychopaths
Yeah,
is,
they
like,
kill
animal
animals.
cruelty and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Even if I'm listening to a podcast about, like, a serial killer and they do stuff to animals, like, I fast forward through it. Like,
Aw.
I can't do it. I genuinely believe I feel more for animals than I do for human beings. Sue me. I can't do the animal cruelty. That is my first line I draw. I can't do it. I can't watch it. I can't hear it. I don't do it.
Honestly, I don't care if a child, a person, anything dies. If a dog is injured or a cat, or like literally, Chris and I were watching The Wire one time. I was like, a dog, and he was like,
immediately.
He was like, they are doing a drug deal. Like what? And I was like,
you're like, finally something I can connect to.
Spoiler alert. 3 episodes later, the dog, like, they have, like, dog fighting, and I was like, oh my god, and Chris was like, it's not the point of the episode. And I was like, I can't focus on anything else.
Has been watching Murder House, American Horror Story Murder House, and she's been texting me, like, updates, and the things that she texts me, first of all, I'm just like, this is what you're focusing on? She's like, how can a man build a gazebo that fast in one day? I'm like, that is not at all. I don't know, Alexa.
I'm just saying.
And one of the things she was like, where's the dog? Why haven't they shown the dog in a long time? Did the dog die? Did something happen to the dog? And I was like, I don't remember. I don't remember. It's not a huge part. They don't really show the dog too much. I don't think he dies, but I don't remember.
I just can't handle, like, I just can't handle it. Or like when I watch war movies and the horses get like shot. And, like,
exactly.
And I'm just like, they didn't want to go to war.
That happened a lot.
I thought you meant in Murder House. I was like, what?
No, in life.
I know.
I can't do that.
I can't do it. What's yours, Molly? What's your, like, I can't handle?
I can't. So even though I just told your next story, I really can't with, like, anything with throat cutting.
Mm-hmm.
Anything. So if it's, like, really, really gory, like, Saw. There's these movies now called Terrifier, and it's like, if you've ever seen it, look up this clown. He's really scary.
That's the clown guy? Yeah. I've heard of that.
And actually, my mom just texted me today, being like, "Have you?" Because the Terrifier 3 is out now.
Yes, the black and white one. That's the guy I'm thinking of. Yeah.
So you see that, right? And I was like, "Oh, that looks so scary. I want to watch that." Like I saw like a preview for it or something.
Yeah.
When I looked up like what it's about, it's basically just total like torture porn. At one point he like I won't even say it, but it's just like, it's such gross stuff, and it's like things like that I just can't do, like serious. I can't do anything with like a lot of knife, like any cutting.
Knife play, not for you.
Not for me.
The thing about clowns is very interesting. Like, I don't have a fear of clowns. I've never met anyone who has a deep-seated fear of clowns, but I know they exist. Also, what happened to all those clown murderers in 2016?
College.
So
Kelly was Kelly. That's what she's about to admit.
It was all me. They were all me.
Oh.
So JMU, there is
James Madison
University. So there is this tunnel. It's called Duke Dog Tunnel. So JMU is on 2 sides of Highway 81. So there's Duke Dog Tunnel that goes underneath 81, and it gets you from one side of campus to the other. I'm pretty sure, and I'm telling myself it was a joke, but I vividly remember there was a video of one of those frickin' clowns. Like, there is a freaky-ass clown in the tunnel. And, like, somebody took a video and they were walking down, and then they saw it, and, like, the clown turned around, and they were like, oh, shit. And, like, started running. I don't know if it was a prank. I don't know if it was what. But it, like,
there
I don't
were
know.
always
it
videos
was just,
of it, and I never saw one on
freaky.
campus. We literally ran.
It was just freaky.
Yeah.
We literally ran we were going to a dining hall, and, like, I mean, like, it was, like, you would think that it was, like, something, like, national, you know, like, where people needed to be taking cover, because we would be, like, scared to go to, like, buildings across campus.
There was a video of one, like, across from, like, Roanoke College, like, the campus, which is where I went, across from the campus, and it was just like, oh, shit, and then nobody said anything about it ever again. Like, what's going on with these clowns?
I don't even know. Was it before the new It came out? Like, I don't know what started it.
What a PR team that would be.
I know.
Can you imagine? Honestly, brilliant.
Well, it's the most successful horror movie, like, ever. So.
They put some, like, actors in drains.
Let me tell you, brilliant PR.
Around the country.
Smile.
Yeah, that did have some
That was one of the scariest movies I have ever seen.
I didn't think the movie was that good.
I thought it was disturbing and terrifying as fuck.
What was the PR?
Remember, they would
had
put,
the
like,
people at, like, that baseball game, and they would sit there with that smile, and I'm like, how do you sit there for that long with that?
It was pretty scary.
Oh my god, I can't remember the name of it, but there's this movie, and it's like a POV movie of all these people, and they're going to all these, like, different haunted house things, and it was before the whole clown fiasco, but it's all of these different, like, actors and clowns and stuff from these haunted houses, like, basically, like, stalk them, and they end up, like, burying them alive as a kid.
That is one of my greatest fears.
And
don't bury me alive.
Oh my, like, I'm forgetting what it was, but I've watched it a couple times, and it's definitely freaky, but this group of friends, they're in an RV, they go to all these different, like, haunted house, kind of like the one you mentioned, and then some of, like, the actors or whoever, like, follow them from one to the other, and then they end up, like, the whole POV thing is weird, because then, like, sometimes the, like, actors pick up the camera, and then it, like, films the people who are supposed to be, like, they're, like, all sleeping, and all this stuff. Yeah. Really weird, really creepy, and I can't figure out the name, and that's pointless for me to say, because I don't know the name.
That just reminds me, have you ever seen Supernatural, the show?
No.
I loved, like, I rewatched it during the pandemic. I almost finished all 15 seasons, but I did not make it through. It's 22 episodes a season.
I just heard a video where Eric Menendez said that that's one of his favorite shows.
Have y'all
Him and me both.
He has shows, I guess he watches.
Heard of the new series on Hulu, Grotesque?
I've been watching it.
Is it good? Because I've seen the previews, and I'm like, that seems like it might be up my alley, but it also seems like it might be a little...
So the reason I started watching it, well, I love anything, like, I watch all Ryan Murphy shows, but the reason I started watching is because one of the actors that plays one of the Menendez brothers is in it, so and I thought he was really hot, and he plays a hot priest, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch it.
In Monsters?
In the Grotesque show.
But the actor who plays him in Monsters, the new Netflix one. Okay.
Anyway, his scenes are interesting, but the rest of it, I would say, is, like, pretty boring.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I'm still on the fence about Ryan Murphy.
I know you
I'm a flanhead.
You somehow know more about him than I have ever known about him.
I'm not kidding. I read the longest New Yorker.
The fact that you knew he was a journalist, like, I did not know that. I never knew he was a journalist.
It must have been at least 10 pages. Like, I was just like, well, this is good research. But my, like, worst and enjoyable horror film is this movie called Housebound. I watched it. It came out in 2014. I watched it with my family, and it basically is just, like, this woman's on house arrest, and, like, there's, like, creepy things happening or whatever, and then you find out, spoiler alert, someone's living inside their walls.
Oh my god, no!
And it gets, like...
Oh, that's like The Boy.
Yeah, it gets, like, scary, but also, like, it gets funny. Like, it's very funny. Also...
Really?
Babadook.
Oh,
I never saw Babadook.
I'll be honest, that kid fucking pissed me off.
Babadook, I vividly remember watching it, like, it was probably, like, my senior or junior year in high school, and, like, watching Molly play with the materials on Alexa's desk drawer, but I remember, like, we had to look it up afterwards, and then we were like, oh, it's, like, a lot deeper than what we thought it was.
Yeah. I remember in college, my freshman or sophomore year, this video game was out. It was, like, a Slender Man video game, and literally it was, like, a 1 or 2 player game, but we would get into a room, there's 10 of us, like, we would turn all the lights out, and it was a scary game. Like, the RA had to keep being, like, guys, shut up. Like, because we would just be screaming. It was very fun. I want to find that game. Also, did anyone answer our question of the week?
Okay. This made me laugh. This is why I was laughing earlier. So one person did, my mom, and her only response was, so the question was, how do you think you would die in a horror movie? And her one response was clown. Just clown.
Just clown.
I love that.
Okay, go ahead, Kelly.
My only last thing is, anytime I think about spooky season, anytime I think about Halloween, my favorite, my go-to, my all-time, ride or die, scary movie. The OG scary movie.
I just watched it after
2000.
Scream.
I love it.
Wait.
It is so freaking funny.
It's like a parody. It's a Wayans
It's
Brothers.
the parody.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a parody of Scream. I love it. I think it is so freaking funny. It's so highly
funny.
Inappropriate. Do not show it to children. But it is... I love that movie.
Have you seen the other ones? Like, do you watch the other ones?
So...
I love all of them.
I have seen some of the other ones. Scary Movie 4, which is the one with, like, the robot monsters. I thought that one wasn't bad. Like, that one's still kind of funny.
Sorry.
Culturally inappropriate.
They're really stupid. Like,
very
they're so
insensitive.
stupid, but they're so funny.
Wasn't Kim
Scary
Kardashian
Movie
that was disaster.
5, which is the one with Ashley Tisdale in it, when, like, it's like the parody of, like, Mama.
Yeah, I think I watched it, but I didn't like it.
So that one came out in 2013, which means I was 13 because I'm like the age of the year.
Were you born in the year 2000?
I was born in 99, but I'm July, so I'm like half and half.
Okay.
So I was like 13-ish when this movie came out. And did you guys didn't see Scary Movie 5?
I've seen
none of them.
So
they make fun of like Black Swan and Mama and stuff.
Yeah, so long story short, there's this scene where like Ashley Tisdale, and I think it's the actress who, if you've seen, I don't know her name, it might be the actress from Shameless that plays what's his name? Somebody's wife.
Fiona.
No, the other like friend who owns the bar.
I've never seen the show.
I don't watch
I just know
Okay.
that that one woman's in it.
And so, basically, in this movie, they have this like lesbian sex scene, except it like shows it in like symbols. So it shows like two pairs of scissors like
oh my god
clasping into each other, and it shows like a railroad where like a train is supposed to go into the tunnel, except it just shows two tunnels like bouncing back and forth. And I vividly remember my mom being like, I have to take your brother out of here. This is so inappropriate, because we didn't think it was going to be that bad.
Yeah.
We saw the trailer and then we're like, oh, Ashley Tisdale's in it, it's fine. And if I was in like 13 and like 8th grade, that means my brother was in like 5th grade. And I vividly remember my mom having to like escort him out of the theater because she was like, this is too inappropriate. And that one was horrible. Hated that one. Scary Movie 1, incredible. I love it.
I like grew up.
I watch it every year.
Scary Movie
Should
raised
I watch
me.
it?
I don't.
Yes.
Okay, but I don't think you would think it's funny because like I try to show Matthew, and like I feel like if you grew up on it, it's like funny. But I also know your humor, and I feel like you're.
Do you think I'm not funny?
I don't think you think like stupid humor is funny.
No, I don't like. I always call things like dumb boy humor, where I'm
It's
like
not- I don't
although
think
like
it's dumb
Will
boy humor,
Ferrell
but,
or
like,
like Adam Sandler.
some parts
shit.
are dumb
It's
boy
parody.
humor.
I don't know if you're a huge parody person. I guess I would say like you don't seem to be, but it's fun. It's so fun. Like they're so clever, and also the twist in the first Scary Movie is like genuinely a really good twist.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Don't
at
tell
the
me.
end.
Don't tell me. I know it's been out for a while.
No,
No,
but
go
don't
ahead and watch it, I guess. But
I love it. Like, it's not a horror movie, but that is my comfort spooky season movie. Is I'm always gonna watch Scary Movie.
The second one is really funny too. They go to like a haunted house, and the very beginning they make fun of The Exorcist.
Oh.
And it's really funny.
I think like I just love like the vibes of when I think of like comfort horror. I think of like probably things I watched as a kid. So I love the vibes of like Halloween Town, Hocus Pocus, where I'm like I want to live in that little town with all the leaves falling down.
I
and,
love
like,
Hocus Pocus.
I will say,
that was Halloween Town.
Did you know the people from Halloween Town? So they got married. The girl who plays Marnie and whatever that guy is.
The brother or the other guy?
One of them.
Like the guy from High School Musical or the guy who plays your brother?
I don't know who's in High School Musical.
She's never seen High School Musical.
You
I've
have
seen. Wait, okay, I've seen.
Okay,
High
you
School
don't like
Musical.
it. You hate it.
Yeah, I do.
Ryan from High School Musical plays
Oh yeah,
in
he is in that.
Halloween Town. I don't know the actor's name.
It's Lucas
something, yeah.
No,
Is
not
that
him.
or does she marry the guy who plays her brother in the movie? I don't know his name. Who did Marnie Piper marry?
Daniel Kuntz.
It's the same way. Their Wikipedia pictures are in front of the same background. Go back to hers.
He was
Go
in
back to
I
hers.
think he played Calabar.
They were clearly at the same event. Scroll up. I'm trying to show the background.
Oh, yeah.
Look, they're at the same.
It's clearly like her and him. That's
it's
funny.
them next to each other.
But what really pissed me off is when they made like a third Halloween Town and then they replaced Marnie and I was like, who is this bitch?
It was Sarah Paxton, I think.
Whatever.
Oh, see, I like that one.
Yeah.
It wasn't Kimberly
She's
J. Brown.
Aquamarine. She was.
She
good,
was.
Sarah
Oh,
Paxton.
loved Aquamarine.
Yeah.
That was
I'm
my
pretty
go-to
sure she's
sleepover. This is so embarrassing.
Same.
We were talking about this the other day.
That was my go-to sleepover movie as a kid. And you know that part when they're laying on her bed, like flipping through the magazines about
That movie
like
is
boy
such a
advice?
vibe.
Yeah.
We would pause it on every single page they would flip
Oh
to,
my
and we
God.
would read the boy advice on it because
There's
we would
something
like
so
try to
comforting
like
about that
learn
movie.
from
Yeah.
it. Oh my god,
Aquamarine, that's funny.
I loved
Aquamarine,
Aquamarine.
and there's a movie called Sleepover that like we would
My
watch.
favorite thing of
sleepovers.
Aquamarine is the earrings that are
The starfish?
Yes, and they whisper compliments in her ear.
Yeah.
I'm
I
like,
wanted
that's
those so bad because I didn't
what
get my
I-
ears pierced till I was 16 because I was
Really?
scared. Yeah, I didn't get my ears pierced till I was
I
16.
wanted you to be her for Halloween.
I thought about it.
who?
Aquamarine.
Oh, I could see that. So that's all we have for spooky season. If you've made it this far, we're glad you joined us.
Oh.
I would also like to shout out Alexa because
Oh, okay.
a lot of these movies and everything that we've talked about, like The Conjuring, The Exorcist, Scream, all this stuff, have been covered on the What Went Wrong podcast,
Oh, yeah.
which is a podcast that saved me from an hour-long commute many a days because I literally listened to the entire podcast as I was making those commutes. And
I love that podcast. Not to, like, deter you from listening to this currently.
Oh, no,
yes.
but, like, it is great, and it goes through a lot of, like, the classic horror movies, like the OG Exorcist, The Conjuring, which is the episode that Alexa recommended to me, which got me to like the podcast, so love you, shout out you.
I'm curious what went wrong with The Conjuring. Like
a lot.
I know there's, like, a background to what it's based on, but I didn't know the movie itself, like, had...
And then... I mean, the entire podcast is just really interesting. Even movies that I had never seen, like, I listened to the episodes and I was like, ooh, this is just cool. But the OG Exorcist, that one had some spooky shit going on.
Yeah, they were like, the set was haunted, basically.
It was, but then also the director was, like, kind of, like, fucked in some of the things that he did. But
yeah. As always. Yeah.
Shout out to you because a lot of those...
I don't get a shout out.
Behind the scenes. Well, Molly, I shout out you for being a wonderful human being.
Thank you. And I shout out Kelly for being a wonderful guest and just making our lives brighter.
And I shout out Halloween for bringing all of us spooky girls together.
The ghosts.
Yes.
It really is going to bring us together a lot this month. We're doing a lot of spooky.
We are, and I'm so excited because I need redemption on last Halloween.
What happened?
Well, I was moving, I was getting a new job. Like, I didn't get to do any of the Halloween stuff last season, so...
October is a stressful month. It's so busy.
It's gonna go by so fast, too. Like, I'm literally looking ahead, and I'm like, I'm booked.
I have a lot of plans this month.
Gooped.
I'm booked.
Booked.
I'm booked.
Yeah. But anyways, thank you for joining, Kelly, and thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe to the show, rate us 5 stars. If you didn't enjoy this, just don't rate us anything. That's fine. And as always, follow us on Instagram at PoppinInPodcast to see our out-of-context posts, our question of the week. Any last words from our special horror guest?
Thank you guys so much for having me. This has been so much fun, and it feels really cool to be on a podcast by some of my really good friends.
Oh,
like that's really cool.
Yay!
Come back anytime.
Anytime.
Love to.
She just shows up in my house right
We're like, oh,
this is a
don't think I won't. I will show up at your house.
That's fine.
We're like mid-episode.
I will be the haunted entity you've always wanted.
Oh my god, I love that. Kelly just comes. I'm in a work day. She comes in and just like knocks my water bottle.
Yes, haunt us.
Yes. But anyways, we'll see you next time.
Bye.